All right, everybody, welcome into the Couch Potato Sports Show. It is me, Sonny Clark, the hardest working man in sports radio, as we are here on our Sunday morning tradition that continues on here into our 15th season in February. Watch out. We're going to even get bigger and better as we get set and ready to go. And that being said, as it is the championship weekend, it's the AFC and the NFC championship games that are going to be going on here today. That being said, of course, let's bring him in. He is here. He's gonna smile.
Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble, yeah. Wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble,
Yeah,
baby, wobble,
yeah, there you
wobble,
go.
baby, wobble, baby, wobble, baby, wobble,
Here,
wobble, baby, wobble, baby,
huge.
wobble, baby.
This is what that's who he is. How you doing? Good to see you, man. Trey Matt, good to see you. The Pod Father.
That's the only time I like to hear that damn song. I'm choking that little. Ugh. So nice.
So how are things going on? We're on 11 just for you because are you going back to work? We were just talking about it, but are you going back to work?
Yeah. I had a holiday day off, and I requested a day off after a wrestling show because it takes me a full day to recover after all that. So, I'm trying to maximize my time as best I can. But yeah, I'm back tonight. I'm back to work today. So I only have an hour here, and then I'll have to move on.
Well, and we're gonna let you lay out the way we're gonna do the show here, since you are only here for a while. And
Okay.
Cuervo is going to be joining at the bottom of the hour. I don't know about anybody else, but let's go ahead. What's on the Podfather's mind today?
I got a lot going on right now. I got just real quickly, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Got the daily grind Monday through Friday. Last week, only knocked out 3 shows because I was sick Monday, and then Friday I had to go to work early, so we had to miss out on that. So we got Tuesday, Thursday last week, but we're going to continue on with the tradition every day, best we can. Life gets in the way. I started a brand new project at the OIWA. We're launching a brand new show every Thursday night on YouTube at 7:05 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
We are putting together a weekly show. We're gonna debut. We're gonna have 3 matches. We're gonna have a little bit of commentary from me. So some of our vignettes that we've been running. We'll talk about those, and some late breaking stuff that will occur as well, and whatever else. So we got that going on. I've been working on that for the last 5 days, trying to put that together. I remember when you used to do that, and what a beating that was for you, and now I know.
Now you know.
And the thing is, you do all the video graphics, so like you over graphic everything. I'm just trying to cut and paste everything I possibly can.
Right.
And it's so hard to do a show on your own.
Yes.
Because, especially when you have a script and you're going through the script, and I'm a really shitty reader to begin with.
Right.
So I'm like, I'm trying to feel the emotion of what I'm trying to say, and it's just like not coming over that well. So it gets a little rough, but we'll figure it out. I mean, I'll get better as we go.
Yeah.
They say practice makes perfect. We'll see about that.
Gotcha. Well, that being said, just really quick, that being said, there is someone in the background as far as that is concerned. So I'm going to bring him on in as soon as I can push the button. But there he is right there. It is Mr. Obi-Wan. His Browns not are you over the Browns situation, by the way? Yeah, how you feeling?
Oh, yeah, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Hey, interestingly enough,
I'm okay.
I saw a meme out there that Deshaun Watson reached out to T. Higgins saying, "Come on, man, head on over here." But it looks like the Bengals are going to put the kibosh on that with the franchise tag. Yeah, it seems like it anyway. So, but yeah, that's kind of the way it looks right now.
That's okay. I mean, I guess they've kind of talked about, there's some other receivers out there that are going to be free agents or we could possibly trade for. One of them could be in Dallas. I don't know. Who knows?
Okay.
But we'll see. We'll see what goes on.
Got it. So that should be interesting.
I do have to say that I'm a bit torn today. I'm torn today about the Niners and Lions game.
Well, hold on.
So
You're torn because you got a rooting interest in your house that you have to answer to as far as that is concerned.
yes, but also to let you know that I do have a rooting interest in San Francisco as well
Yeah, Brock
because
Purdy.
Brock Purdy is a hometown boy, and Brandon Ayuk was at the Arizona State University. So
Mhm. Got it. Got it. Got it.
so
All
it's
right.
like, okay, what do I really? I mean, I just kind of I guess I'm in a no lose situation. This could be win win for me. If the
Gotcha.
49ers make it, great. If the Lions make it, I will be really happy because that franchise has been just about as bad as the Browns franchise, and it's just they're due.
Cool.
So
Gotcha.
there we are.
So got you all set. Now, Podfather, I just wanted to swing it back to you. We get the Podfather until the top of the hour, which is noon. How long do we got you, Browns backer?
Probably about the same time.
Okay, so look, getting you guys at the top of the hour. So that being said, back to the Podfather. I don't know. I wanted to get your take up on the games last week as we saw, the divisional rounds to get to where we are today. What did you think of the games last week?
Who played last week?
What? See, this is what I bring in here, Ob. Yeah, who played last week? Yeah, because you weren't watching. I know. I don't know if you had the chance to see the highlights and everything, but of course you
I
had the Kansas.
I, I saw glimpses of what was going on TV. All I know is that you know, I'm trying to remember the game exactly. I mean, did I want the Niners to win? No, but they
You had
won.
Baltimore and Houston. You had
Okay.
Buffalo, Kansas City. You had San Fran, Green Bay, and Detroit, Tampa Bay.
There you go.
Yeah, Green Bay showed that they belong. They just one play away, really. Um, you know,
Couple.
Houston. Kudos to those guys. I mean, they did that with a rookie quarterback, and they got as far as they're possibly going to hit right now. They're going to be scary come next year, or
Oh
they
yeah.
might have the sophomore slump. You never know. I mean, it can always happen too.
Yeah.
Um, you know, did the right teams get in the final? Get in the last 4 games? Yeah. And honestly, let's think about it. Don't you think the NFL wants the Chiefs in the Final Four to get that Taylor Swift, that
Keep
little
the
rub
eyes
from
on
her?
it.
I,
Yeah, I
are
mean, I
you are
mean,
you sa- what
just
so
just to get all the
are,
women that could to
are
contribute
you
to this.
saying that the NFL is scripted like the
Look,
WWE?
No, no.
first of all,
They're hoping more so
Uh,
than scripted. I
first of
I
all,
I've yet to
first
follow
of
with
all,
that.
hey, I mean, you mentioned this last week. Y'all seen the poster for Super Bowl the Super Bowl this year, right?
yeah,
Yes.
The colors of it are red and purple.
Right.
yeah.
What out of the 4 teams? So
I know.
you can't have the Chiefs and the Falcons, not Falcons, and the Ravens in the Super Bowl, but you got them now in the championship game. But in the Super Bowl, you got the Niners and you got the Ravens. Next year, it's going to be green and I think green and purple. So I think we're looking for either the
Wait a minute.
Jets versus the Jets versus the Vikings or the Eagles versus the Ravens. So we'll see.
What about green? What about
Green Bay.
green and orange?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. Wait, green. Well, yeah. That's
What?
it.
Hey, I I can wish, right?
I don't
All
know.
right.
You're
Hey,
quarterback
hey,
away. I mean, really, in reality, I
We
mean, come
are.
on.
We're really a quarterback away.
And the
Hey,
most important position on the field. That's where
yes,
you're lacking.
yes.
That's you must feel really positive going into next year.
Not really. Not really. Deshaun
look,
Watson is.
look. According to
I.
Sonny,
Yeah.
you're just one Kirk Cousins away from being a winning team.
Yeah, there you go.
No, I don't want Kirk Cousins. That's like getting Joe Flacco 2.0.
Jeez. I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. Joe Flacco's better than Deshaun Watson. So you better hope they go out and get Joe Kirk Cousins. You better hope they go after him. He's better than Deshaun Watson. So, but which, by the way, I said for one game. I didn't say for the future for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I just said for that game. And guess what? By the way, who was right on that? Oh, that's right. That was me.
You're up
Okay.
behind yourself on the back, aren't you?
And so, hey, it is what it is. But that being said, yeah, the Bills Kansas City Chief game was really good. Could have went either way in reality because the Bills should have won that game. And everybody's talking about a few plays that are in there, and the one play they're not talking about was the touchback. I mean, they get the ball on the turnover and they're about ready to jam it down the Chiefs' ass. And guess what ends up happening? They get the fumble into the back into the end zone for the touchback and lose control of the back. If they get that, they win the football game. And why? I just wonder. People just look at the stats on a football game, and they are not looking at how well Josh Allen played in that game. Never mind 2 critical drops. There was one bad pass, but 2 critical drops on great passes. Then you had the turnover in the end zone that takes the 7 off the board. Come on. I'm tired of everybody on Josh Allen's ass because Josh Allen played really well in that football game. And it was the other parts of the pieces that let that guy down in reality. Or we would be talking Bills Ravens today.
Diggs, 9 times out of 10, he catches that ball.
But interestingly enough about Diggs, this guy's been kind of unsatisfied for the last couple of years. The guy's been bitching and moaning, and the guy just only gets over thousands of yards and touchdowns. I mean, what more does this guy want? This guy, it's just I don't know. All over the football field, he wants to play for a winner. Well, why don't you show up and be the superstar you're supposed to be, so you can get to that elite status? It just really.
He's becoming a cancer in the locker room.
Oh yeah,
and Josh Allen needs to put a stop to it.
Yeah,
This is Josh Allen's team. Josh Allen just needs to turn to him and say, you know what? Start catching the effing ball when I throw it to you, and stop your bitching and go sit down and shut up.
Yeah, well, that's what a lot of these quarterbacks need to do with some of these quarterbacks. That's for darn sure.
Well,
now,
yeah.
That being said, Podfather, Kansas City, they get by. Hey, say whatever you want. This is a football team that's been in the AFC Championship for how many years in a row? Is it 5? Something incredibly ridiculous. But when you were looking at that game, I don't know if you had time to take a peek at it. What was your take up on what was going on Kansas City Bills?
All I can say about the Kansas City Chiefs is this: as much as I would love to pan this guy because he was a coach of the Eagles at one time, you got to say a lot about Andy Reid. For him to be this far in the game and to still, be able to have a team that competes on a regular basis like they are and doing the right thing, my hats off to him. I mean, he's definitely, if I was building a team right now, everybody would say, "Oh, I go get Bill Belichick." Well, clearly nobody can get Bill Belichick now. But I would definitely look at Andy Reid, because he can build a winner, and he's got the right pieces in place. Now it does help that he does have the right pieces in place. But
Absolutely.
He knows how to make that work, and it's hard to root against them. It's hard to root against them for me because they are originally from Dallas. So I take the Dallas Texans thing kind of seriously because I have no real team in the AFC that I want to pull for. Hey, kudos to him. Kudos to that team. Do they get by this, today after, are they going to the Super Bowl today? I'm on the fence on that. I mean, I'm leaning more towards the Ravens, but, I'm sure the NFL looks at that and go, hey guys, you realize that the Chiefs go to the Super Bowl, we get Taylor Swift. So she'll be in. We might be able to get her to do a halftime show. for free because
Well,
Usher
Usher might call her out. Come and do something. On stage
Her and Usher.
her and Usher.
I mean, look, maybe this will work well for us. I mean, after all, we're a business. We always say the NFL's a business, so
Yes.
we're in the business of making money. We need women viewers to watch Super Bowl because we're tired of every year everybody saying, "Oh, the Super Bowl ratings dropped again for another 85% or whatever that was."
I don't know if they could pay her enough. That woman demands some money. I mean, I don't know much about
they
her,
could
but
they could pay her enough.
They
I mean,
could
look,
pay her.
if Netflix can find $5 billion to pay the WWE to air their stuff in January, trust me, the NFL can find money to pay Taylor Swift.
hey, now that
Yeah.
$5 billion, by the way, is a bargain for 10 years. That's just what I'm
would
going to
think
say.
so. Yeah, and the thing is that they have the right to, after 5 years, cancel the deal, or in 5 years up the deal to 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hell. It's a hell of a deal for
They're fully in command on that deal.
I mean, for Endeavor and TKO to be a part of that, and of course, well, what else came out from that scandal this past week? Well, you want to talk about a big week for the WWE, good and bad. Jesus Christ. But
both spectrums of the deal.
Well, they're getting rid of the cancer.
They officially.
You want to talk to cancer?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but listen. When I'm 78 years old, I want to slow things down a little bit. Okay. He's got girls in there. He's shitting on their head. He's sitting there, sex trafficking them to the office, giving them their Brock Lesnar. Jesus Christ, that had to hurt. I mean,
well, first of all, I put half of the blame on the women, but then again, at the same time, they are trying to be successful.
Well, she was coerced.
They had to do what they had to do in order to be on TV.
Yeah, as they say, she was trying to be on TV. She was an office person, but she, the thing was that she was being quote unquote coerced. He was buying her gifts, buying her stuff, and this and that. He was whining and dining her the right way, I guess. Unfortunately, he's doing it for the wrong reasons. So
I wonder how Linda McMahon is feeling through this whole thing. It's just
I don't think those two have lived together for 10 years.
I was going to say, sort of like me and my wife before we moved back together. Yeah. They're just separate, but at least
I think when she ran for political office,
yes,
she did not need his peccadillos, keeping her in the way of all that crap.
Distance, big time.
Because there's a lot of gray area there with him, and it's just one of those things where I think he actually, she served in Trump's cabinet for a little bit, but cabinets can be changed out quite a bit apparently. So once again, they had a very successful show last night, and they had the interviewers were asking Triple H and some of the wrestlers backstage, about this situation. They're all saying, guys, we found out about this stuff today and it all broke. We had no clue.
I don't believe it. But then again, that's just me.
I think they shielded a lot of the people away from there, and like the people that probably knew, like Brock Lesnar, he wasn't there last night, and he was supposed to be there last night.
I was shocked we didn't see him in reality. I think that's why Pat McAfee got thrown into the mix because he really did nothing.
Well, yeah, but the thing was, it was funny. And it made sense.
It was funny.
It was funny because me and my show guys were watching the show through. We had on our own TVs and we're doing a video call during the whole thing. And I'm like, wouldn't it be funny if Drew Carey makes an appearance? He hadn't been here in a while, and Pat McAfee served the Drew Carey role.
Gotcha.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, there you go. And even Billy's like, Trey, you called it kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, you're right. But no, it was. It was a very successful show, and once again, they've had more positive than negative. The negative thing about that whole situation, except the fact that the girl got, sex trafficked to the office, is the fact that all this does not take place under TKO's brand or Endeavor.
Exactly.
They are not held responsible for what he did, and the fact that they can cut bait with him and just move on and they got the right person in charge now. Nick Khan and Triple H.
Yes.
The two-headed monster that's running that thing right now. They are doing a fantastic job, and they're making last night to be able to bring in the TNA Women's Champion to be a part of the Royal Rumble.
That was awesome.
I mean, to reach across the table and say, "Hey, we're in y'all's neck of the woods. We need an extra woman over here. How about give me last year they had Mickey James, so this year they got Jordan Grace, and I'm like,
Mhm.
and Jordan Grace. Well, we called a show with her over at
Yep.
SOAR one time. So
Well,
for her to
no,
see,
she didn't make it.
oh, that's right, she didn't make it. No, she's gonna do SOAR Mania.
Yeah,
She can make. But yeah, we were originally gonna do that.
that
But
was
to see
COVID.
her, yeah. So to see her get the big break, I thought was really awesome. Triple H did a good job putting her over. He put TNA over.
Absolutely.
You never would have heard that from Vince.
No. And
And
all that working together is just going to make that better as a whole. The relationship that they are going to be developing. Same thing if you think about what Bischoff did with the Japan wrestlers and the
yeah,
Mexican wrestlers, bringing them in, through different companies and stuff, even though they were smaller per se, but still same idea to
right.
bring those guys in and try to get them in there. And you'll see Grace in WWE within a year and a half.
Yeah, and the best thing for this entire situation is that I like that Triple H says I'm not going to use any fancy terminology like reaching, forbidden doors or whatever. It's bullshit. And just taking this poke at AEW because they like to generalize a lot of things and say
Yes.
this is what we're doing now. So it was cool. I dug it.
Awesome. Now, that said, and as Jim takes a step away, I just saw his message pop up. He's going to be right back. But that be whoa. Okay, let me go back into the brand. Let me get that out of there. And where is it? There it is right there. We'll take that out for just a moment and go. Now, what we'll do, since we got you going on, and this is what one of the fun parts of the show. We're bringing on the fine co-host of this program. Let's
see me.
co-host of this program here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. Hey, we didn't see John Cena last night either. So good
He was
morning.
there.
How you doing, Cuervo?
He was there. You shouldn't see him.
Just couldn't see him, yeah. So good to see you, Cuervo. How you doing?
Likewise, gentlemen. Good morning.
Yeah. We are in championship mode. Man,
Yes, sir.
going into it. We do have Obi. He just stepped away. We're going to bring him back in here. He's in the green room. But we're saying we got those two to the top of the hour. So, Cuervo, what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of move it to the Podfather since he's got to be bailing here fairly quickly. We're going to look at the games. We're going to get his look at what's going to go on in both of those games, and we'll talk about a few things. But let's talk about the first game there, Podfather, as the Chiefs are going to be on the road for the first time in playoffs with Patrick Mahomes. However, in their fifth AFC championship game with this guy, regardless if it's a home or away, the first time in away. But here we are. All right. So that being said, taking a look at this game, what is your take up on what it is? What do you expect to see here today?
I'm going to view both games the same for the home team because if everything goes right, the home team's going to win no matter what.
Okay.
If things start to fall off the rail a little bit, that might cause some panic. I don't see a lot of that happening in this game. And by the way, I've already lost the playoff deal, so I'm voting for my heart right now. I don't care about who the reality it might be right now. I mean, I'm probably looking at, as much as I'd want to say the Chiefs, I'm looking at the Ravens, mainly because they look unstoppable right now. They look unstoppable. And the Chiefs, they had the struggles early in the year. They seem to have cleared all that up. And, playoff football is different. I mean, this team is experienced in doing that. But doing it on the road and that hostile environment of Baltimore,
Yes.
that's going to be rough. That's going to be rough for them. And it's one of those things where if they get called offside one time, that can jeopardize the game. If they hold one time, I mean, every mistake will be over exaggerated, really.
Definitely.
And it'll bring. And by the way, you got to watch the refs on this too. I mean, are they calling? I'm not saying they're going to call down the middle, but I'm saying, are they going to look favorably towards the home team just to avoid the backlash. I mean, I'm almost certain that a lot of the bad referee calls we're getting these days is because of that.
Right.
Because I mean they're trying to do their job, and I cannot imagine what they have to do because they have to watch everything.
Right.
But I really hope this doesn't become a game that the officials take control over. I hope they let them play. I hope that they call it fair. And I just think Lamar Jackson, this is his time. It's his time to prove Sonny Clark wrong. He knows it. He knows that Sonny Clark's been bashing the hell out of him for years. And
you evidently didn't listen to the shows in the middle of the season at week 10 when I said if this guy stays healthy, he's going to be the MVP and quite possibly win the Super Bowl for the first time with that kind of guy. Yes, I've been bashing him for years, but you want to know what? I win either way because I said it. And then second of all, if he does drop the ball and doesn't get to the Super Bowl or win it, it's still part of the narrative. However, I did say this guy's going to win the MVP, and he is. I don't think there's anybody that can get in there. But that being said, Mr. Smartass, Mr. Podfather, continue with your thought.
Better than being a dumbass.
I guess so. I guess you can kind of look at it that way. So. But well, interestingly enough, something to keep in track here as far as the game is concerned. Weather is going to be a factor in the game a little bit as far as that is concerned. How will the Ravens play in the weather? It won't be too bad. It's going to be about 49 degrees, a little bit of rain with the wind blowing. Hey, you don't say much about that, but 12 miles an hour, that's kind of a hit there as far as something to be added to this game.
It can mess with the kicker, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And we already know about kicking in the playoffs and what that's going to be. I mean, the Buffalo Bills kicker is getting threats every day, had to turn off his freaking social media because of stupid fans. It's unbelievable.
By the way, Dave Meltzer is reporting that Braun Breaker replaced Brock Lesnar last night.
Oh, was that what it was?
That's what they're saying.
Well, that's interesting because he should have been up there a long time ago.
He still missed some pieces, but I mean, he actually looked good last night. So I'll give him
he did. So that being said, as far as the Baltimore Ravens are concerned, you look at the Chiefs. All Patrick Mahomes knows how to do is win football games, right? I mean, even on the road or big time games. This is where Patrick Mahomes will cement his legacy, especially against Lamar Jackson, and I think that's a big story in this game.
So, time out. He hasn't already cemented his legacy by winning championships?
No, he's only won 2. That doesn't mean anything in reality as far as making himself as far as one of the greatest of all times. Winning 2 Super Bowls, that's wonderful, but to make him that guy to be one of the GOATs and things of the sort. This is a game that I think he needs to win because why? Because the Chiefs are not necessarily the good football team that they've been for the last 3 years. So now he's got to go over a real piece of competition in the Baltimore Ravens.
I mean, he did all this before he did all this before the age of 27.
I'm not diminishing what he's done.
That's pretty good. I mean, that's pretty good, really. So,
right.
I mean, Steve Young went once. Is he a great quarterback? I mean, we're gonna go into that whole thing. So,
listen, I'm talking about. Listen, he's already a great quarterback. We're not arguing that. That's semantics.
He's no.
I'm talking about being known to do what the greats do, which is win a game like this, and obviously doing it on the road. It helps. I didn't say it didn't. I just said it helps cement his legacy as far as that's.
I just like giving you shit. That's all.
I know you do. You're just one of these guys that gives me hell.
I just like that when you and I started bickering. Cuervo was like, "Here we go."
There we go.
But yeah, hey, it is what it is. It's good to see Obi back in place. So Obi, take a look at this one. The Chiefs and the Ravens today. What's your take up on what you think you're going to see today and why?
Let's see, Chiefs, Ravens. Well, I've been going back and forth on my pick on who I want to win, or who I think is going to win this game.
I've changed it 3 times, but I'm not changing it anymore.
At least, I think I've changed it 3 or 4 times. And currently, I have the Chiefs winning.
Okay.
So
we may flip that here.
No, I don't think I'm gonna. I think I'm probably gonna leave it here because here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that Patrick Mahomes has been here before. Patrick Mahomes has proven that he can win this game. When we all go back to what have I been saying for several weeks about Baltimore and the Ravens? If Ravens can dictate how the game goes, they can win. But I don't think if the Ravens are limited to if they're behind and they have to catch up, yes, Lamar Jackson's very good, but he tends to force things that are not there right now. And so I just feel like that it's going to be important. The Chiefs they come out quick and strong and take the lead and make Baltimore play catch up the whole game. And it could be, 3 points, 7 points, 10 points, whatever. As long as Baltimore is behind, especially in the second half, then the pressure starts to ratchet up to Lamar. And Lamar tends to start making mistakes when the pressure's on. Patrick Mahomes, no. Patrick Mahomes could be down by 10 with 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and somehow they win the game.
Yep, if
that's reverse, if the Ravens are down by 7 to 10 points, 5 minutes to go, game over. Ravens are done.
Yep, we just talked about that, Anthony, about the weather being maybe a factor in that football game. That will be interesting. And big news coming out. I just saw this last night, so I grabbed it up. Activated off of IR is Mark Andrews. God. This is a bit. You can say that, but that is Lamar Jackson's number 1 wide receiver. I mean, granted, he's a tight end, but he is the number 1 option. Same thing as Kelsey. So he gets his Kelsey back in reality. So Cuervo, I mean, adding Andrews back gives them another weapon. They're playing pretty well, obviously, scoring up 30 points a game, and that's another thing. What's your take? What's your look at this one as far as Baltimore is concerned?
Yeah, I mean, it is big for Lamar to get Mark Andrews back. I think that is a big deal. I tell you what, though, that doesn't mean that you're not going to see anything from Isaiah Likely, who was filling in for him. I think he could still be a factor. I was just looking at the weather in Baltimore because of Anthony's comment. That game, if there is any rain, it looks like it's not going to be until the second half. So I think to Obi's point, who can start off faster, who's gonna jump out to a lead. I think this is going to be the most important part because both of these teams, I think, have the capability to come back from being down 7 points, 10 points, even 14. But you don't want to find yourself in that situation. That's the point, is you don't want to find yourself in that because that second half is going to be about more of the ground game, depending on if it does start raining and things like that. So whoever's got the lead is gonna have more control of the situation.
Yep. Ball
So that's
control is going to be really big in the second half if weather does become a part of it and get it all
right.
going. But here's some of the ranking, some of the things that I picked up while we were gone. Mark Andrews, obviously back end. He's going to be a big part of the game. You got Zay Flowers as the wide receiver over there. That is huge, I think. And then you throw in, the guy who filled in for him, Likely. He's going to be a big part of it. Then you got Pacheco running the football. And then, of course, you have the defensive tackle in on that one, as well as Sneed for the Chiefs. Those are going to be some things that we're going to be looking at in these games that are going to be really huge outside of the obvious of that being Lamar Jackson as well as Patrick Mahomes. These are we know about those guys. Those are going to be no great big surprise. So, but I honestly, well, and I don't know if this will be a factor or not. No, Tony, Tony, I can't find the line of scrimmage, to be over, but congratulations to him. His wife had a baby, so that's the personal parts of that. And I think he's got like an ankle injury or something like that that's going to keep him out of that game. So do you find that being a part of the game as far as that's concerned, Cuervo?
Part of the game, what, the personal part or the injury part?
Well, the injury. Well, as far as Tony not being in the lineup for the Chiefs.
Well, look, I mean, we can make fun of him all we want about the whole lining up off sides. I think he's a weapon that Mahomes could have had, and he's not going to have him. I mean, that's really all there is to it.
Yep, and I think the ankle would have. I'm not sure if that would have kept him out of the game, whether they tape it up. But the fact that his wife had the baby might be one of the reasons why, and trying to get in there. So I will say this: as far as what we are going to be seeing in this one, there's going to be a lot of factors in it. But that's what these games always are, though. When you think about it, AFC and NFC championship games, who's going to take that step forward? Who's going to be the team that is going to have the game and be the reason why you see a team win? And I don't know. Offense, defense, and then you got the special teams. A lot of times we don't even talk about the special teams when we're thinking about who's going to win a football game. But I think obviously when the championship games, all phases are going to come into place, especially with the weather, the kicking in the wind, as Podfather said, at least in this one over there. So I think it should be, something to look at. And also some of the things that we're talking about is, taking a look at these defenses. These defenses are huge as far as that is concerned, and what they are do. Look at those numbers. I mean, what do they always say? Numbers don't lie. Well, guess what? They're not lying here as well, as the Ravens keeping opponents down to 15.5, Kansas City down to 15.8, which is the best. I mean, you got that, and then of course you got the San Francisco and the Lions game a little bit later. But looking at those defenses as far as points allowed in the game, these guys are neck and neck, and what a way to go into this game here today, at least as far as the AFC Championship game. I think they should have been the number one, number two, because I think these were the right teams in this one. So I'll ask that of Obi. Are these the right two teams here in this game, or do you think there should be a different team besides the Browns that should be there?
I think it's right. I think it's some could say that, well, the Chiefs really didn't play their regular season. Everybody was like, what's going on with the Chiefs? And hey, the Chiefs got in. They're in, and the Chiefs are dangerous.
They're always
the Chiefs. And here's the thing: is that stat just kind of proves what I was wanting to say after you gave a break or whatever. The Chiefs' defense is very underrated. They have been playing really good in the second half of this season, and I really feel like that. The Chiefs' defense can actually probably stop maybe Lamar a little bit more than maybe Buffalo. But I think those two teams, yes, they're where they should be.
Gotcha. All right. That being said, there's someone in the green room, one of my favorites
Right.
of all time. Big hit from weekend, week out, whether it's the regular season, whether it's the wild card round or the divisional round, or like today, the championship round. It is Mr. Bryce from Brooklyn. What's up, my brother? Matter of fact, I'm gonna put him right there. There he is, right there in the top spot, almost like Hollywood Squares. How you doing there, Bryce? Good to see you.
Sonny, good to see you. Good to see everybody. It's championship weekend. How's everyone feeling?
Oh, excited and ready to go and ready to kick this. Now, that being said, Bryce, we got Obi and the Podfather, who is having evidently some technical problems to get going.
Don't mind me.
Yeah, don't mind him. We got them at the top of the hour. So that being said, I'm going to just put you on a brief hold if you don't mind, because we just talked about Baltimore and Kansas City. We'll come back and get yours. I want to go Baltimore. I want to go the Lions and the 49ers for the Podfather and Obi. So while he's working on his computer, I'll go to Obi. Lions, 49ers. What are you looking at this game and how you see it going?
I'm looking at one thing in the first half and then one thing in the second half. The first thing in the first half is how quickly and how much can San Francisco get up in the first half,
Okay.
because then that dictates the second half. And if San Francisco lets the Lions hang around like they did let Green Bay hang around. I guess I shouldn't say Green Bay outplayed San Francisco last week.
Yeah.
If Detroit is hanging around and within striking distance of the 49ers in the second half, the Lions have the attitude of their head coach. They want it, and they want it more. Their attitude, it all goes about the attitude. And the attitude is, we want to punch you in the mouth. We want to dictate what's going on in the second half. And when it comes down to the nitty gritty, we want the ball because we're going to run it down your throat and you can't stop us. And we're going to win the ball game. That's Dan Campbell's attitude. That's the team's attitude. That's the receivers' attitudes. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery's attitude. And Amon St. Brown, he catches the ball. And if he catches the ball and he turns around, it's 3rd down and 5, he catches the ball 4 yards short, he's getting that first down. He'll run right through that defender. He's tough as nails. And I just feel like that if it comes down and the Lions are just, it's close, Lions have the ball, I think the Lions will win this game if it's close.
And
If not,
Jared Goff.
if the 49ers are up, I want to say probably about 17 points or more at the end of the first half. I think that's a little bit too much for the Lions to overcome.
And Jared Goff is just playing out of his mind, so he gets the revenge against his Rams, the former team last week. So Podfather, taking a look at this one as we get big news today as well. Deebo Samuels will play in Sunday's NFC Championship game, and that everybody's talking about an X factor guy, a guy that if he's not out on the football field, you end up losing. Guess what? That's what Deebo Samuels is to the 49ers. So this is a big get for the 49ers for this game.
I'm glad they're going to have all their horses able to play for this one. I think they need it because I think I'm not saying it's anywhere near what happened to the Eagles, but they are right to be beaten. I mean, they almost got beat last week. They almost got beat the week before or 2 weeks before that. I mean, actually they got beat by the Ravens going into the last game of the season. So, not granted, they played their backups, but still, I mean, just that culture kind of creeps in a little bit, and you start having those doubts. I think right now you have across the United States, you have one city pulling for San Francisco, and the rest of the world's pulling for the Lions. because they are the little engine that could right now.
Mhm.
They got a coach that everybody loves because they think that he is the coach of all coaches these days. Where you need a hard ass, you need someone like a Jimmy Johnson to kind of get in there and and get in these players' asses and say, look, you got to play better than that. Pick wise, my heart I'm pulling for the Lions. I know they're playing in San Francisco, but they can be beaten in San Francisco.
Mhm.
They've it's one of those things where like there's no reason why I would think the Niners can't win, but I don't want them to win.
Right.
So I'm pulling for my heart and going, go Lions. But hey, look, I like the idea of getting teams that have never been in the Super Bowl to get them in there finally. Like, not that the Rangers haven't been to the World Series 2 other times and lost, but to see them win it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So to see the Lions get to the final game, which hasn't happened since the 50s, and in the old NFL style of force Super Bowl, I think it's one of those things where it's really cool to see it actually happen if it can happen. And I love the one thing that people are saying is like, hey, if the Lions get the Super Bowl, can they like sign Barry Sanders up to like a 1-day contract and have him at least touch the ball for a Super Bowl, just one play?
Yeah.
just to say that he got in there. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of makes me mad. That just it's one of the things that kind of pisses me off in reality. It's just like, I mean, you're talking about a different time and everything, but
you think
so
that
he
pissed
can
you
get a
off?
Super Bowl
Hey,
ring.
you think that pissed you off? Do you see how Skip Bayless thought that he was overrated?
Oh yeah, I wanted
God.
to see. He's getting so more. You thought I was irrelevant when it comes to opinions, man. Skip Bayless just went past Sonny. Okay, he just went that
Skip
far.
Bayless is an
I mean,
ass.
oh my God, that guy
He's
has a,
been there for a long time, sir. You
oh
know what?
too much.
He gives Cowboy fans a bad name. That's for damn sure.
Yes. Oh God. So that said, who do you have in this one? Because I don't want to lose you without getting your picks. As far as that. So are you're gonna go San Francisco and the heart with the Lions, correct?
No, I'm pulling. I picked the Lions.
You're gonna pick the Lions to win too with your heart. Got
Yes.
it. All right. So that being said,
I'm going for Brooke.
Yeah, go. Why not? That being said, Obi, who do you have in this one? And as far as the final W,
I have picked the 49ers, but my heart
yes.
is going for Detroit.
Okay, I got mixed up.
But
All right.
like I said earlier, I'm in a win-win situation here. Lions went on my heart, and then we got the Brock Purdy and
Connection.
Brandon Ayuk connections to Arizona. I'm in a win-win situation.
So
I
who's
think
your pick?
49ers.
He's gonna go 49ers. And he's gonna.
I got the 49ers.
His wife
playing
is
the
a big
Cheifs.
Detroit, the big Detroit, lady. So you got it. It's
A
sort of
big
like
Detroit lady.
Cuervo and his wife with the Denver Broncos. Trying to keep the household, all set and ready to go.
A little
So.
bit stable.
Obi, I'd be pissed. You have a big Detroit lady at your house?
No, she's actually a little Detroit lady.
That's not what
She's
Sonny
very
said. He said a big Detroit lady.
Yeah, big Detroit lady.
She's a big Detroit fan.
She's
a fan. She's a fan of the Lions, the Tigers, the Red Wings, the Pistons. So everything Detroit, that's her.
Yeah, she's not very far off. I kind of like that. I kind of like that.
And unfortunately, she's a fan of Michigan too. So.
Yeah, so there you go. So national champions, by the way. So I'm glad we're able to get those in because covering a lot of things. So that being said, let's stick with the Lions. Let's talk about that. I'll throw it over to Cuervo. The Lions, this is a time of a reflection of seeing how long it's been for them. It's since the Barry Sanders days. And going up against the 49ers. Say whatever you want. You want to talk about Jamel Hill is one that missed on this one. If you've seen the memes rolling around, she missed, as far as, her prediction on what he's capable of doing and what he can. There goes the Podfather. So that being said, looking at this one, what's your take up on it, when you take a look at the Lions and the 49ers, again, the big story, of course, being Deebo Samuels being back into in the lineup for this one. So what's your take up on it?
Debo being in the game is a big deal.
It's a big change.
That's obviously one of the biggest weapons that Brock has. But I look at this game and my concern is Detroit's defense. I just don't know if they're going to be able to stop the offense that is, the 49ers, because they beat you in so many ways. That's what makes this Niner team so dangerous. I mean, even if Debo wasn't in, you still got to worry about Ayuk. You still got to worry about obviously Christian McCaffrey. And oh, by the way, they have a Kittle at tight end. So they could just beat you in so many ways, and that's what makes it so tough for a defense to stop, and especially with Detroit's, because let's call a spade, guys. Let's be honest. I mean, as good of a feel-good story is with the Detroit Lions, and this is not, you're just hating on the NFC North because it's not the Bears. It has nothing to do with that. It's just I'm looking at this game objectively, and I'm looking. I think the concern with Detroit is their secondary, and you see it right there. If you break it down, who's got the advantage as far as secondary? Obviously, San Francisco, which even theirs isn't that great. They're good, but they're not great. That's my worry when it comes to the Lions. Is slowing down the passing game. So.
And then you look at the offense, and you see these advantages as well. You see
that's
what
a big
this game
advantage
is all about.
By the way. That's a big advantage, having the offensive line, because that's what's gotten them to where they are today. All those years where they were using first round picks on Penei Sewell and all right, Obi, take care.
Catch you later, Obi. Thanks for joining us, my friend.
But if anybody was wondering, how do you build a team, you can still do it through offensive line, right? Using first round picks on guys like Penei Sewell and who else do they got? Decker and those type of guys. Ragnar, I think Ragnar, I don't remember if they drafted him or not, but he's a damn good center. So that's what's gotten him here. All those years of using pick. Oh, they should have gotten a receiver. They should have gotten offensive line is where it's at. That's why they're here today.
Definitely. And here's the X factors in the game, who to look out for each one of them. Obviously, we got more of an advantage on the 49er side. But still, it's interestingly enough, Bryce, when you look at things like this and you see this game, we can look at these numbers all day long, but you can't you can't find heart on this one, because you look at the Lions, they seem like they got more heart than any team in the NFL. And that actually, if you think about it, kind of started 2 years ago when they brought in Dan Campbell, the slow moving. I told everybody a couple years ago, watch out for this team. They get you in different ways that you don't think about at certain times, and that's how they win a lot of football games. Now it's all put together. Now you got what's going on. They're winning the close games and getting those out, getting those advantages. Now, what's your take up on this? Look at the Lions, look at the 49ers, and how much of heart is going to be in this, as far as that is concerned, for the Lions, at least anyway.
So first and foremost, Jamel Hill caught, apparently folks on Twitter turned their ire towards her and what she said about Dan Campbell, which I also had those same sentiments when Dan Campbell was hired.
Right.
Jamel Hill on her podcast, I'm going to send it to our Facebook group.
Okay.
Broke this down in such a thorough way, and was so nuanced in the conversation and what she actually said.
Okay.
It's worth listen to. I'm gonna
Throw
say
that in there. I would love to
will.
listen to
Everyone
that.
needs to just, it's a 15
Because
minute.
I like Jamil Hill. I don't know why everybody was on her about it
Listen,
more so. She just had an
Sonny,
opinion about it.
Cuervo, when you watch this breakdown, you will be like, "Yep, there it is." So that's something separate. Now to this game. This game is very interesting to me because first and foremost, the problem with the Detroit Lions been on the back end. It's been very inconsistent.
Right.
Very inconsistent on the back end. There's some players there.
I was worried about that last week.
Yeah, there's some players, but I think the linebackers, secondary, they're good and they're not good. There's some inconsistency there. The front seven, I think the front four are pretty good. They get after it, which you want, but they still have to fill out that back end of that defense in the draft or through free agency. The problem is, I don't think on paper there's a big gap between these teams. When you look at the quarterback, I think Brock Purdy throws with great anticipation, but I think Jared Goff is the better quarterback. I never thought I would say that about Jared Goff years later because I thought I just didn't see it. Like even going to the Super Bowl, I'm like, it's all system. But this guy has continued to get better. They put him in good positions. They play physical. And in this matchup, he is the better quarterback. In terms of the coach, I'm going to talk about this. In terms of who manages a game better, it's Dan Campbell. You see Kyle Shanahan with wacky decisions, when games are close. You see some of these offbeat play calls. Dan Campbell, however, stays in pocket. He knows how to manage a football game properly. Maybe that's because he played on the line as a tight end, just the way he sees the game. He's smarter than what people have given him credit for. He doesn't always present himself like that. But I think that's going to be a factor. And then when you look at the style of play, if the Lions, as was said before, if the Lions can get a lead and keep this game close, 49ers have problems playing like that because then it becomes a Brock Purdy game. And with Debo a little hobbled, you can – sometimes they don't always win those one-on-one matchups. They're not built to play from behind. Whereas I think the Lions can they're definitely going to match their physicality. I think they're going to play physical. Now, can they on paper match up with some of these Christian McCaffrey type players? Christian McCaffrey to me is the key to this game.
Absolutely.
He's touched the football 35 times because he's a game breaker. He can break it from anywhere. And if he can get to that second level, then he can put stress on that inconsistent linebacker corps secondary corps. Having said that, I think the Lions' ability to control football games, Purdy could get tight. If this game is tight, I don't feel that the Lions will. And I can't believe I'm going to say this. And the fine co-host of this show said last week, it's more about the Packers. He's going to have to watch the Detroit Lions go to the Super Bowl.
Wow. Interestingly enough, when you think about this game, okay, and what you said makes perfect sense. The first thing that comes to my mind, I don't know how many times I've changed this pick, but you solidify it in one way. Quarterback, who's the better quarterback? I mean, you can say that. But as far as and so I was like, yeah, give me the Lions. And then I thought about Brock Purdy. What does he do well? Okay. It's going to be everything that they need to do. You will not see Brock Purdy go deep in this game. He will be dumping it off to Christian McCaffrey, finding the guys within, 10 to 20 yards between the line of scrimmage. So that's his game. And I don't think Shanahan's going to take him out of his game in reality. So whether or not he'll throw the interceptions within his game, which we seen a couple of weeks ago, is going to be a big part of this game. So Cuervo, i.e., better quarterback usually wins football games, but in this case, is that the case? Will the defense of the 49ers be able to slow down a quarterback such as, what you're getting in Detroit right now?
Oh, wait. Hold on, Sonny. Before he goes, let's set the stage. Are we about to see? Now we know what he said last week. we don't really have the same animosity towards the Lions. It's the Packers. Sonny, are we about to see, on that being said, the fine co-host of this show pick the Detroit Lions to go to the Super Bowl? Here we go. Let's see. Let's put him on the spot.
All right. Well, let me allow me to talk about Bryce's talking points, which were good ones, by the way. And I don't disagree with most of what you said. The only thing that concerns me, though, when it comes to Dan Campbell, I think what I respect about him is that he's consistent with how he manages and coaches games, right? However, this is not week 14, week 12 in the regular season, right? I know Dan Campbell has an itch. He loves to 4th and 3, 4th and 2, and he loves going for it. I would just be real cautious today if I was Dan Campbell about doing those
Fully
things,
agree.
right? Yeah, I'm not saying don't go for it on 4th down at all. If it's a 4th and inches, a 4th and 1, you can push your way to a 1st down with Jared Goff. By all means, go for it.
Absolutely.
I just think anything 4th and 5, 4th and something like that. I would probably, depending on where you're at in the game, I might want to think twice about going for it because there's a lot on the line. It's not just another win or another loss in the season. This is an opportunity to do something that's never been done before. Seeing the Detroit Lions in the Super Bowl. It's just, first of all, that's just crazy to say.
Yes.
And you're right. It doesn't make me throw open my mouth to say that because Sonny knows the NFC North, it's a very unique division. It's like we all dislike, we all have our teams, but one thing we all agree on is we can't stand Green Bay. Packers fans, Lions fans, Vikings fans, and us Bear fans. We all come together to give Green Bay the big finger. So
all right.
If Detroit makes it, hey, good for them. It's a city that I think would love nothing more than to see their team in the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But that being said, the moment Bryce has been waiting for, I don't think the Lions are going to make it. I like the 49ers to win, and here's the reason. So I touched on it, then Bryce kind of took it a little further, talking about the secondary and the linebacking core for Detroit. What does that tell you, though, guys? That tells you that defense depends so much on getting pressure up front with Aiden Hutchinson. And if that doesn't happen, then the Niners are going to have their way with this defense today. So it is absolutely key for them to get pressure up on Brock Purdy. And they got to set the tone right away. And if I know that, and if we're talking about it on this show, then Kyle Shanahan and his guys know that's what they need to defuse from them, is not letting Hutchinson have his way with that offensive line. So that's why I like the 49ers. I think that going back to what Sonny said about the short game, I completely disagree. I think the Niners are going to go at them because of the fact that their secondary is so weak and their linebacking core is not great. I think they're gonna attack that defense, and they're gonna want to come out to a quick start. Look, weather's not going to be a factor in this game, guys.
Nope.
It's San Francisco, California, so there's going to be no problem with that. Now the Ravens and Chiefs, that's a different story, but I expect to see Kyle get aggressive in the air, and I think that sets the tone for this game. The only thing that can help Detroit, I think, guys, is if they go ground and pound, and if they try to wear that defense down. I think that's what could give Detroit the advantage, just because, with the Niners, you got Christian McCaffrey. I mean, there's no denying how good he is, how talented he is. But with Detroit, you got thunder and lightning with that team, with Montgomery and Gibbs. So for the Niners, they're going to have to pay attention to who's in the backfield and kind of anticipate what they plan on doing. So, But in the end, I think it's the 49ers' time. They've been this close so many times, and only able to get to one Super Bowl back when Jimmy G was the quarterback. One of Sonny's favorite quarterbacks of all time.
Of all time.
And but I think Brock's going to get it done today, guys. I mean, look, last year you could debate whether they could have beaten the Eagles or not. We'll never know the answer to that because he got hurt. I think this is going to be a different performance this year that you see from the 49ers in this game. So I like the Niners.
There were a lot of things I was looking up. I just like Bryce, you're on
Wait,
mute.
wait. Hold on,
ahead.
Sonny. I need to clarify something.
Okay.
Cuervo, are you telling me that if the Lions do buck your pick and go to the Super Bowl, you're going to root for a Detroit Super Bowl win?
I am, absolutely. I will say it right here.
What?
I will root for the Lions.
I got me a Lions shirt. If that happens, I'll wear it.
And I'm gonna tell you,
I don't
Bryce,
think they'll win, but I'll root for them.
Bryce, I'm gonna tell you the reason why. And this is gonna sound stupid and silly, but in my head it makes sense. If the Lions make it to the Super Bowl, okay, the reason I'm gonna root for them is, well, yeah, it's NFC North, but I think it puts more pressure on my team to go out and build something, because now oh man, if we don't build something to compete now, we're never going to get there, because Detroit's going to be good for years to come. Who knows what's going to happen with Green Bay if Jordan Love is God forbid he's the third franchise quarterback in a row that this team is going to get,
and he looks
really
good.
Going to make me puke. Is really going to make me puke in my mouth. But the point is, if Detroit makes, oh man, all right, we need to get hot on this there, Chicago. That's why I wouldn't be mad, just because I think it puts more pressure on the Bears to build fast.
Got me under pressure.
So wait, this kind of proves what I've said, and I can't believe, like Cuervo, I think that's an interesting way to look at it. I understand you're doing some self-evaluation with your team. This is what I say to that, though. This is why I think the NFC North, obviously, classic division. This is why I say the AFC North has the best rivalries in football, because I can't debate that. There is no way Steeler fans want to see the Baltimore Ravens win a Super Bowl. We don't want to see the Browns win a Super Bowl, and we don't want to see the Bengals win a Super Bowl. So while I like those rivalries in the NFC North, they just don't have the same animosity that the AFC North rivalries do.
Well, because y'all hate each other. Y'all hate each other, and it's weird because, I don't want to see the Vikings win. I don't want to see the Lions win. But hey, if it happens, it happens. But we all come together when it comes to Green Bay.
Yeah,
and like I said, we all give them the finger together.
There's no coming together for any of our fan bases. There's no coming.
Yeah, see, it's a little different in the AFC. Yeah,
there's true. So, there's a lot of,
because y'all hate each other. Y'all hate each other. The Steelers fans don't get along with anybody. Bengal fans don't get along with nobody. Brown, unless it's themselves, amongst themselves.
Yeah. So I just,
what I mean? Like,
put that out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But I think it's because there's been more success in that division than there has been in the NFC North. Like the Steelers have been consistently good. Bengals just got to a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Baltimore could very well be on their way after today. And then you got Obie's Browns. So
which are getting better, but
they're getting better
rivalry and have had success in the past.
Yeah, so I think that's the difference. Now, if the NFC North gets that way and all four teams are really good, then you could see a little bit different. I may not be so much okay with the Lions winning or the Vikings winning. I might be like, hey, you guys, go kick rocks. But for now, the division is what it is. There's been one team at the top for the past 20 years. And that's why we all hate them, because we want to be where they are.
Exactly. A competition and getting your ass kicked creates competition, and that's what happens. And interestingly enough, I'm going to throw this up there because I found it very interesting when I found this. I thought, yeah, Jake Moody, born and raised 30 minutes outside of Detroit. Okay, this is the kicker for the 49ers, and diehard Lion fan as he grew up, went to the University of Michigan, and he's the only thing maybe in this game that might be standing in the way of a Lions Super Bowl, So interestingly, I thought that was quite interesting. So I thought I'd bring that up to everybody's attention. So it's something to watch. I'm looking at this game and and this is the reason why I don't think everybody's talking about it. Running the ball in the media, at least in the first half or whatever the case may be, which tells me Dan Campbell might be going in the opposite direction on that. Okay. Sometimes you got to know or just have a thought of what everybody's talking about. Will we see it? And I don't know if Dan Campbell, he plays a lot of gambling games when it comes to a game. This one wouldn't be so far fetched. Like, is instead of going for it on fourth down or whatever. I think the key, if the Lions are going to win, Jared Goff has got to get that ball to St. Brown and get him involved with the game. David Montgomery's going to have to get out of the backfield, and they're going to have to throw the football. They're not going to win this game rushing the football. Not with that defense that on the 49ers line. It's just not going to happen. I don't see the running. And although I love Montgomery, and Detroit is, if I'm not mistaken, they're either the second or third best rushing team in the NFL. I just don't think that's going to happen up against that defensive line. This could be really interesting. I'm going to get really mad at myself because I want the Lions to win, but more in the fact that I take an even swing back on that. I don't necessarily do want them to win. I want the 49ers to win because of last year's and that situation where they weren't able to get into it. So I kind of want to see them, to steal a phrase of the wrestling, to finish the story from last year to see what they could do with it this year. But I agree with Cuervo. I think Shanahan sometimes he will, or no, actually, it was Bryce who said it. I think he just does some of the craziest things sometimes at the worst times. And this is a championship game. Will he continue to do things like that, or will he take it as serious as it is? This is a championship game. We don't need to be doing anything stupid to try to win a football game. We should go out and win the game. So this is a game where I want to see hard-nosed football, no, stupid trick plays or whatever the case may be. I want to see winning football, and that's what I think right now, if you just look at the team, the 49ers are a better football team than the Lions in reality. That's the reason why I'm going to go ahead and take mine. I'm going to go with the 49ers in this one as far as that is concerned. I don't think the Lions have enough to get up and over the hump. Next year, watch out for them, because if they get a little help in the secondary, they're going to even be better defensively, and they're going to be harder to beat. But one of the things I think we got to keep our mind out is the MVP. In this league is really interesting this year. Okay. And I'm going to bring this up because there are a lot of people to talk about as far as the MVP is concerned. And Jared Goff should be consideration for that MVP spot in reality, because he has been playing out of his mind this year. But here is the kind of the list when you take a look at it as far as the reward. And guess what? Look at the MVP list, and he's not even on it. And I'm sorry. I think he's better than Josh Allen right now. I think he's better than Brock Purdy. I know he's better than Dak Prescott. He should be on this list. He got snubbed. And by the way, this is the official list. So I think Jared Goff actually should be there.
Okay. I mean, I don't agree with that necessarily, but that's
take a look.
Sonny's opinion.
just looking at the, I just look at everything, and teams like the Lions and things like that, they get overlooked for certain reasons. Right now it's the Dan Campbell story more so than the players out on the football field, right? I mean, we're talking more about Dan Campbell than the guys out on the football field, and I think that's how he gets overlooked. Now, that being said, you're actually on the Lions, Bryce. Is that your so
I'm going with the upset.
looks like everybody else is on the 49ers in this one. So that would be a big one.
Podfather said the Lions, right?
Yeah, you're right. The Podfather did say the Lions. So watch out for that one. That should be an interesting game, which, by the way, the playoff pick'em, who's in the lead? Yeah, that would be this guy right here is in the lead. But I'm only 2 points ahead of Obi. Now, we have the same picks in this one, but where the confidence points are going to be the big story on that one as far as that is concerned. And if one of the teams lose, we got the guys in third, fourth, and fifth will move up. It's great. I love the confidence points. I know a lot of people don't, but I love the confidence points as far as the playoffs are concerned. By the way, did you see the price of the tickets of the games today? I grabbed this up. I saw this one. Boom! Look at that, $1,300 for the Ravens game. 1,300 around that area, and for the NFC Championship game, it's a lot cheaper. I don't know why. I'm not
because in the first game,
Mahomes and Lamar Jackson. What do you mean why?
Yeah. Because in the first game, you have Lamar Jackson versus Patrick Mahomes.
Bigger. Okay. All right. Yeah, I guess I just didn't think about that part of it as far as that is concerned. So that being said, let's get to that game. We haven't talked to Bryce about this one. Is that NFC North hatred of the rat birds that are from Baltimore, but at the same time, he's got a little love. He won't admit it. He's probably got a Lamar Jackson jersey in his closet. Don't want to pull it out. He don't want to get embarrassed. By the way, hold on. Before we do that, Cliff Kingsbury, your new offensive coordinator. And I knew it. I knew that look. I was looking so forward to see that look as far as the offensive coordinator. So I want to know who should be fired for grabbing up this guy. I mean, as far as that is concerned, someone needs to be fired. Is it the front office? Is it the head coach? Because if I'm not mistaken, some of the places I read, the head coach was really high up on bringing him in to try to help the skills for Pickett, and he thought this could be the guy. And they brought him in because they want to try to figure out how to figure out Lamar Jackson, at least in my eyes, in reality, why they brought him on there, which tells me they're more worried about the Ravens more so than the Bungles or the Cleveland Browns within this division.
It really hurts when media people like Sonny Clark get on their platforms and spread misinformation.
Okay.
Cliff Kingsbury is not the Steelers' offensive coordinator.
Exactly.
Wait, I just saw it. I'm glad. I'm glad he's not. I felt really horrible for you. In reality, I just saw it in a quick thing. So thank
Poor
you.
Sonny, he falls for everything, huh, Bryce?
Yeah, so
Yes.
I don't know.
Cuervo, especially for things that rile him up or feed into his need to yell at the cloud because he wants everything to go back to the 1960s with football.
Yeah, like trick plays. He thinks the jet sweep is still a trick play.
Yeah, he was ready to Cuervo. He was ready to rail against Mike Tomlin.
The Bears are who we thought they were.
He was ready to start laughing and all that. Cliff Kingsbury ain't gonna be no OC for
good. I and by the way, I just saw it, or I would just
it's gonna be Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Let's make it.
Well, okay, so let's answer that question. Who are you looking at for offensive coordinator for this football team?
I think we'll see what happens with teams and losses. They're going to take their time. My number one choice, and Cuervo probably knows what I'm going to say, is Eric Bieniemy. I want Eric Bieniemy as our offensive coordinator. I think he'd be a great addition. think he can sometimes be a little too pass happy, but I think I think Mike Tomlin as the head guy would balance that out, and they would sit down and they would coordinate and create an offense that brought Bieniemy's aggression with Tomlin's more conservative mindset, and said we need to be committed to running the football, but then we need to build out this passing game. I feel he would be a strong leader. He would be a voice. That's the type of coordinator they need. They might interview Clint Kubiak.
I heard that. That was the name I was hearing a lot, actually.
They're going to wait and kind of I think they still might interview Pep Hamilton. So that could be it. Hamilton.
You'd love that.
Yeah, Hamilton could be a good quarterbacks coach too. I know I think he was out of football last year. So we'll see how they go. I don't know. I guess Gerard Johnson, the Texans quarterback coach.
Yes.
Has gotten some, behind closed doors, people like what he brings. And so we'll see. I'm not opposed to that, even though I'd like someone with a little bit more of a voice for the Steelers because of some of the young guys they have, and they're getting younger on offense. So I want a strong voice, and I like Bieniemy. He's my number one choice for that role.
Gotcha. Just wanted to find that out because it's going to be an interesting offseason with the coaches and who's been hired. We're going
But you know how I feel about Bieniemy. I've been very open about how much I respect and like him as a coach.
Go ahead, Cuervo.
I do have a question for Bryce, and this doesn't necessarily mean, if Bieniemy is hired or but since the guy you'd like to see is Bieniemy, let's say that happens, and let's say he gets the job over in Pittsburgh. Do you foresee, whether it's him or not as the offensive coordinator, do you foresee the Steelers moving on from Kenny Pickett, or do you think he gets another opportunity to be the starter in Pittsburgh? Like, what do you foresee with the Steelers doing, like, in the first round? Are they going to go quarterback? What are you hearing?
I believe when Mike Tomlin says that Kenny Pickett will go in as QB1 next year, but he's going to have heavy competition for that role, particularly if a new OC comes in. And I think people need to, in terms of the draft, people need to not close the door that if one of the quarterbacks they like falls to them taking a quarterback with that 20th pick could happen. Or if one of the quarterbacks they like falls to them in the second round, I could see them trading up for a Penix Jr. I could see that maybe mid-second round if he falls that far. I don't know if they're in a position to take one of the quarterbacks. I think some of these guys may go higher than we think, where if that happens, Pittsburgh will move in other directions. They're not in a position to trade up for their guy unless you feel like if you feel Jaden Daniels was the guy and your new OC evaluated him and Tomlin evaluates him and they were to make that move, I think that's a risky move because they have other holes to fill too. So they would lose a lot of draft capital. But let's see where they go in free agency. I'm not sure quarterback is going to be on the board for the first or second round, but let me tell you, don't take it off the table. I think Mike Tomlin is serious about competition. I think Mike Tomlin will be serious about evaluating all positions. And if a quarterback falls to them that they are in love with, don't be surprised if they take them.
So they're not going to trade up in the first round. It's just going to be, hey, if we get lucky and somebody falls to number 20, we're going to take him.
I mean, that's tough because Pittsburgh has needs. They need to move Broderick over to the left side, find a right tackle. They got to find a center. They still need to beef up the inside linebacker role. They need a safety. They need a running mate opposite Joey Porter Jr. So trading up and losing draft capital is a tough move. If they had more picks, Cuervo, this year, let's say they had 10 picks. Oh, I would be much more bullish on they could trade up for a quarterback. But I don't see it. But if someone falls to them, don't be surprised. I wouldn't be.
I'm really worried about your Steelers. I really am, because I don't think Kenny Pickett is the guy. So he's looking at his body of work to this point. That's just not good enough for Steeler football, right? You look at Steeler football and the history of Steeler football. If you want to go back, in the history and see who's there, who are the greats, he's not lining up. He's lining up with Cordell Stewart in reality when you take a look at the talent that is out there. He needs to take that step forward. Now, is that the offensive coordinator? Is that play calling, or is it just him? Because he throws some bad footballs, and I think you'll be the first to admit it. I mean, this guy, it seems to. Someone needs to teach him to read a defense for him not to make the mistakes that he's made in the last 2 years. Never mind for as long as he's got. For the last 2 years, he's making those little mistakes that cost him football games. And if he gets out of that, then you look at the Steelers. Even this year, you look at the Steelers. They're primed for the playoffs if he can stop making those mistakes that stop you from being a successful football team. So that being said, I don't know if he's going to get out of it. It does take a special offensive coordinator to get that done. And if they don't get the right one, you're going to see. And it's almost like watching the Chargers. Last year should have fired their head coach. And you're going to go into this year going, God, here we go. That's and then what's going to end up happening, how it'll trail off, and you're going to wish that you made that step or that move earlier. That now, granted, of course, they got Jim Harbaugh as the head coach, so that changes the kind of effect on that. But the idea at the time was, man, what the hell are we doing having this guy as our head coach again? Unless there were some backroom deals with Harbaugh saying, hey, I have to stay one more year here at Michigan before I can get there. Maybe there was a backdoor deal that we don't know about, because we all know it goes on. So it's really interesting as far as where your team will be next year. And I think if he cuts those little mistakes down, that especially in that division, because you never know what's going to happen. How many quarterbacks were for the Browns? 5 this year. I mean, who goes down in injury? Can they step up and be the team to beat in the AFC North, especially if Lamar Jackson does go down to injury? This is the first year in 3 years that he's been healthy, and this is really good for them. This is a tough football team as far as Baltimore. Now, Baltimore going against Kansas City, we're talking about it, and a little bit earlier in the show, and the Podfather was trying to bait me when I just said, this is this time for Patrick Mahomes to cement his legacy even more. He missed the even more because, of course, Patrick Mahomes is a Hall of Famer. He's a great, but to get this victory on the road, this is totally different than what we've seen in the past with Patrick Mahomes. And what we say about other quarterbacks? You got to prove yourself. And this is the time where Patrick Mahomes has to prove himself that he can get that victory in a big game on the road. So looking at this one, as far as the Kansas City Chiefs and Baltimore Ravens, what are you looking at, Bryce?
Wow. First, I do want to say there have been some interviews and talks anonymously with NFL insiders about Kenny Pickett. Okay. And a lot of those coaches and personnel people say Kenny Pickett is exactly the type of quarterback you can work with in a system to have success. This is their words, not just some pundit. And they talk to multiple people and they say the things he does well, you want to see from a quarterback in an offense. So it'll be about the coordinator. Kenny is a little bit more system than just talent one-on-one, beat you with off-platform throws. He needs a good system or he can thrive. So let's see if we can get him one. Now on to this game. It's real nice to hear Cuervo give his soliloquy about the NFC North and how, we all hate the Packers, but we don't have the same type of animosity for each other. Well, that ain't the same here.
No.
Okay. And let me tell you, it absolutely sickens me to see the Ravens in the AFC Championship playing a Chiefs team that is winning a lot of different ways now. Mm-hmm. This is about their defense. This is about their offense, not turning the football over, and their offense being able to complement the defense and special teams in a way that creates momentum, creates points, and creates opportunities to close out games so they can play to their defense to win in the end. I think that's the way the Chiefs are going to play. But there are a lot of things. There are a lot of things going against the Chiefs in this game. Number one, the Ravens have a quarterback that can play on par in terms of playmaking and dictating to a defense with Patrick Mahomes. Now, Cuervo, we all know that Sonny Clark gets real riled up because he now gets to yell at the crowd about the quarterback. Oh, boy. I mean, if I have to hear that again, I'm going to throw my laptop against the wall. Did you see that on the touchdown pass to Likely? Did you see that prime-time dime Lamar Jackson threw to Likely on the back of shoulder when he goes up to get it? Oh, my goodness. Perfect placement on the run. Like, when you talk about arm talent, off platform, just freakish ability to throw from different angles, Lamar Jackson will match you. And he has an elite trait that Mahomes doesn't have. Mahomes does run and can move and run, but that ain't Lamar Jackson. So that's another threat they have to worry about. Also, they're going to get Mark Andrews back. You pair Andrews and Likely together, that is a unique tight end combination. Even if Andrews gives you 20 snaps, 25 snaps, he's still going to be a threat.
Or a red herring.
Yeah, you've got Dalvin Cook, Justice Hill that bring you explosiveness. And then on the defense, and then we know about the receiving core with Flowers. Monken's doing some interesting things there, moving those guys around, building off of the run game, which is good. Defensively, we know the Ravens, they also have a very good coordinated defense. It plays the right way. It capitalizes on your mistakes. They're very well coached. There's not the same dogs they had in the past, Dumerville, Suggs, and all that on the edge. But they got two guys that's one of the best tandems in the league in Smith and Queen. Hamilton's a very good safety, a dog back there. The lack of receiving threats for the Chiefs could really hurt them, even though they got the best quarterback in the world. Normally, coach, quarterback, you know what I feel about that combination when it comes to picking a winner. I'm going to give Reed, you give it the slight edge, of course, to Mahomes and Reed, but Lamar Jackson has been playing so well and is so dangerous. I think he might be the more dangerous quarterback. And now I have to say it. I wish I could be as gracious as the fine co-host of this show, but I cannot. I'm going to have to watch the ball. Look at it. I'm going to have to watch, and I am picking the Baltimore Ravens win this game and go to John Harbaugh's second Super Bowl.
What?
And I'm literally going to punch a wall with I'm going to donkey punch a wall with both hands. Just broken hands.
Gotcha.
Just ridiculous. But I'm going to have to go watch it. I think
Careful when you do that, Bryce.
the streak ends for Mahomes. He does not win this AFC Championship game. The Ravens are going to the Super Bowl to play the Detroit Lions.
Interesting pick for
He's going with the Ratbirds.
So
Wow.
going with the Ratbird.
This shows you how unbiased I am.
Yeah.
This shows you how unbiased I am. Because no one's going to be rooting harder for the Chiefs than me today. Not even Taylor Swift.
Keeping it real.
Well, then you should be in Baltimore in a skybox, root for the Chiefs. Right.
And full Chiefs gear.
Full Chiefs gear.
Oh, my Lord. I'm going
Head to toe in red and yellow and whatever.
It's going to make me sick.
Yeah. But if the Chiefs make it there, I really do. This is going to really
Steeler Nation will rejoice.
Well, that number one, but also it will solidify Patrick Mahomes as probably one of the biggest badasses in the last 10 years. Say whatever you want about him. He takes them to the AFC Championship game almost every year he plays. So, you got to take a look at that kind of thing and what that solidifies yourself for your history of who you are. Now, granted, this guy's a Hall of Famer. I called it after he won the Super Bowl. He's a Hall of Fame guy, and yes, you could be mad about a Patrick Mahomes being as good as he is. Right?
This is total BS.
At the same time, recognizing who it is. So that being said, of course, that's the name of the show. I know there's a lot of people out there when they hear Sonny Clark talk about one Lamar Jackson. I want people to realize, and you got to go back to week 10, 9 somewhere. I said, if the guy stays healthy, he's going to be the MVP and he's going to be the hardest out in the playoffs, if not win the Super Bowl. Now, I haven't decided on who's going to win that Super Bowl, but I will tell you, if Lamar gets there, I'm just giving everybody, I think the Ravens not only win it, I think they win it handily, even if it is the 49ers. So, but as far as my pick is concerned, I'm definitely on Lamar Jackson. And there's another reason why I'm going to throw this on there, because he's just going to make it within the next 2 years. Another hard decision for the Baltimore Ravens to renegotiate that contract, because he didn't get what he wanted, right? He wanted $210 million. He got $185. So in the next, if he wins that Super Bowl, guess what? He's going to be talking about his money. He's going to want even more money. And then the Baltimore Ravens are going to have to figure out what they're going to do in order to keep that guy, because you're not going to let your Super Bowl quarterback of only 2 years just walk because of money. So say whatever you want about Lamar Jackson not having an agent. I think he set himself up perfectly to do it the way everybody wants a guy to do it. Prove it first before we hand out even more money. And that's what's going to end up happening. So that being said, that's the name of this show. I'm just putting everybody on notice. I think the Baltimore Ravens win the Super Bowl. I'm already done. We don't even need to do a show, on Super Bowl, but we will, of course. But I'm right now, the Baltimore Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. Whether it's the Lions or the 49ers, I don't think it's going to be anything. And it has nothing to do with the fact that he's a running quarterback, although that's going to help cement the legacy. Look what he did. He's one of the first really running quarterbacks to win the Super Bowl. And he can snap a lot of guys like me, smack them in the face and say, looky here, biatch, look what I did to you. Look what I told you. So, I'm just saying it. And I know it's hard to believe, but I'm right now, the Baltimore Ravens are my Super Bowl pick, and I got them winning today. Not only that, the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line is beat the hell up. And so that's why you're seeing Patrick Mahomes running for his friggin' life. Not only that, they just lost Joe Thuney. He's out for the game, so he's not going to play it. He's their all-pro guard. So that's yet another thing on Kansas City is going to work, because that defensive line of the Baltimore Ravens is nasty. And those are the kind of guys that you want on your. So the game's going to be one on the line, and the line is going to be Baltimore on the defense and offensive side of the ball. So I got the Baltimore Ravens in this one. So Cuervo,
Yes, sir.
who are you going to take in this game? Did you tell me and it's just slipped my mind?
No, it's because you guys had already talked about the game when I got on, but
right.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. In Bryson, the best smile on the internet is not going to like this. The nicest smile. I got to figure out a way to say it, but look, I know the Ravens have had their shortfalls over the years.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think this year's different, and the reason why is, and I think this proves my point more. Look, I totally get it. The head coach is like the one who gets the most attention as far as how teams play and all that stuff. But I cannot emphasize how important coordinators are in this game. I'm not talking about just this game in particular. I'm talking in the game of football in general.
Yes.
Didn't work with Greg Roman in Baltimore. Didn't work with some of the other guys that have gone through the Ravens coaching staff and whatnot. This year, look, I think the Ravens win the game. I'll just get straight to the point. And I think it's because this year you have a coordinator in Todd Monken who, at the collegiate level, I get it, it's different. It's not the same level of competition, but he has coached in big games like this at the collegiate level. So my point is, the pressure won't get to him as far as certain situations throughout the season or throughout the game. And I think he's going to find a way to exploit the defense of the Kansas City Chiefs, who are playing well, by the way. They are.
Yep.
And I think
Big Mo.
I think that has been, we could talk receivers all we want. And yes, the receiving core of the Baltimore Ravens has been weak for years. It's been weak. But now that they have Zay Flowers and whatnot, I think Todd Monken is the difference. And that's what the Ravens have been missing as far as taking it to the next level. And I think that's what you're going to see today. You're going to see Monken find a way to exploit the defense at the right time, make the right calls at the right time. And that's what gets the Ravens into the Super Bowl. Defense they're going to do what they do. Probably going to create a couple turnovers. They're going to get to Mahomes. Mike McDonald, he's a head coaching candidate, and I don't know if it's too soon for him. I never heard of the guy until this year with this Raven defense, but to me, that's the difference, guys. I think that has been what the Ravens have been missing. Aside from a playmaking receiver, I think they needed a coordinator that can really use the strengths of Lamar Jackson and take it to another level. And that's why you see Lamar as an MVP this year, a candidate for MVP. So that's what I like about Baltimore, and I think that's why they win this game.
Does he win the MVP?
Yes.
Bryce?
Yes.
I fully agree. Oh, by the way, this just in, I got a special video. Give this a watch. This is real interesting. I just found this, and I was hoping to get it uploaded. Here we go. Watch this. Oh, wrong one. I got that for Cuervo a little bit later to talk about. Where's the video? Oh, I'm on the wrong side. Here is the video. I want you to take a look. This should be really interesting. And if you're a wrestling fan, you might enjoy this as well. If it'll work. Go.
Family in your head, they are fighting with their tanks and their bombs.
Here comes
and
Lamar.
their bombs and their guns in your head,
Oh my God.
they are
Oh my God.
in your head,
So just a quick video that we had. Lamar
Awesome
Jackson,
video.
man, I cannot believe we're even talking about that. Just unbelievable that we got that going on. I think this might, yeah. And by the way, we've had a lot of news go on, so I want to hop in that. I want to go to Dolphins really quick. Nick Fangio out as the defensive coordinator of the Miami Dolphins. And I'm wondering where that guy might be able to go next year. Because listen, you can say whatever you want about him as a head coach. This guy, I think, did as good a job as he could possibly do, more so than the team and the players on the field kind of let the Dolphins down. I don't think it was coaching. Where do you think you could see Nick Fangio next year? So I'll throw that to Bryce.
Okay.
No, go ahead, Cuervo. You got an idea?
No, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Something tells me he could wind up in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
That's because he's already got the job, guys. I don't know if
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
he's
I'm the
already
hardest
taken the
working
job
man
in
sports
Philly.
radio, and it goes over my head. I didn't even hear it. So there we go.
Yeah, he's already accepted the job as the DC in Philadelphia. And
Wow.
how about this one? Philadelphia also has a new offensive coordinator. There it is.
Oh, God. So you can now stop the consideration of the Eagles making the playoffs next year. This guy right here just takes away all your chances of being as good as you could possibly be. I'm telling you right now, what did he do for Justin Herbert? Oh, yeah, that was nothing. How did he help his game get better? Oh yeah, nothing. So interestingly enough, that the idea of that guy, going over to the Chargers, that being Jim Harbaugh, and and I would just say this, huh, huh, hey. And there's already talks, by the way. I just wanted to bring this up. And this one I have heard, and it was out online. Colin Kaepernick may be making his way back to the NFL. I don't believe the stories, just to let you know.
How
I
long
don't
have we
believe
talked
the
about
story.
this?
Oh,
How
well,
long
no,
have we talked about? It's not going to happen.
I don't think
If it
it is
hasn't happened
either.
already, it's not going to happen, Sonny.
7 years. 7. It's been 7 years, right? 7 years.
I'm not sure. It sounds about
Like
right.
6, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
I'm
6
so
years.
I'm and nothing against Colin Kaepernick, but no NFL team is going to take him. They're going to take a rookie quarterback and try to develop somebody more so than bring in Colin Kaepernick to try to reprise his role.
I tell you what I would do, and guys, I got to get out of here.
Okay,
I tell you what I would do in terms of Kaepernick. You talk about he's been out of the league. If Harbaugh wanted to bring him in and work him out, if he felt that he could compete for the number 3 job, with the way number 3 quarterbacks are in this league, please.
how about quarterback coach?
Because I've always, I don't know, about the coaching aspect of it. I always felt Colin Kaepernick was about 3 years ahead of his time anyway. So take off the fact that if you're 3 years ahead of your time, I know this is Bryce math. If you've been
I already like it. I hear it coming.
If you've been out of the league for 6, cut that time down because you were already ahead of the league. You really been out 3. Right. So if you feel you can have this guy come in and compete for the number 3 job, give him an opportunity, see what he's got, and if he were to win it, that's your number 3 quarterback for the year. Your emergency quarterback, a guy that can, if he can still throw it deep and run, that's going to be better or as good as any quarterback you have. And even if it's for first year, while you bring in another guy to compete and be the number 2. I wouldn't be mad at that, actually.
I don't necessarily now, and I'm going to say it
because his ceiling is number 3, which okay.
Well, I will say this: better than any free agent or rookie quarterback, I would take Colin Kaepernick over him. Just more the fact of the experience and everything else. But starting in an NFL football team, we're not going to see.
No. I tell you what, Cuervo, if right now your Bears said, we have signed Colin Kaepernick, we've worked him out, he will be the number 3 quarterback for the year. You could do, if he can still give you something, you could do a lot worse. At the number 3, he's probably not going to play. He'll be in the system. And if he ended up having to play, at least you get a quarterback that can run like, not as Fields, but can do some similar things if he can still play. Not a crazy idea, Cuervo.
Well, and you're right. And
would that upset you, Cuervo?
Having Kaepernick as the number 3 quarterback?
Number 3 quarterback.
No, because look, I'm past the controversy that was him kneeing for the net. I don't care about that crap no more. If
no one cares about it, I don't think, do they?
No, nobody's even. But
I don't.
So then, if nobody cares anymore, Sonny, how come he never got his opportunity then?
Yeah,
I can tell you the last 2 years of his career, you say whatever you want, it was going down. Say whatever you want. Check the last 2 years, it was on its way down. And when the last year he played, he did not play well.
We know why, though. We know why.
Well, the first couple of years after that, absolutely, we know why. And then it's a time thing. How long are you going to have a quarterback that's going to be out of the league before you're going to bring him back and be your starter? This is not like that just doesn't happen.
I'm talking number 3.
Even Geno Smith was a backup quarterback before he won the job over in Seattle. So when you're out of the league, when you're out of the league for 7 years, you're not there. So
no, you're right. But just hypothetically speaking, if the Bears decided, you know what, he's got ties to Chicago. He was a minor league pitcher for the farm system of the Cubs and all that good
I
stuff.
heard that. Yeah.
So he's got a little bit of tie to the city. I wouldn't be mad at it. And you know what? I think it would be beneficial because I think he could really mentor Caleb Williams when he gets drafted #1 to the Bears. and he could really be a mentor to him. And you know, kind of help him learn the game and stuff like that. Justin's gone. I'm telling you right now, guys. Justin's going to be gone.
What? Oh,
No,
so you're coming down on it.
I'm going to let you and Sonny Clark stew in this trade Justin Fields nonsense. I'm going to let y'all stew in that yourself. I got to get out of here.
Always
I knew I'd get a rile out of you guys.
I did it last week. You did it this week, Cuervo. So yeah,
always
definitely.
good talking football.
Always
All
good
right,
to see
Bryce.
Bryce from Brooklyn. Now
Good
that we
games
are
today.
talking about this, Cuervo, I'll go back to that picture I was bringing up here. First of all, I did not know this. So this is a learning moment for Sonny Clark. I did not know that that Justin Fields was dealing with epilepsy. What that means, those are seizures, by the way. Just for folks that don't know, those are seizures that can mess you up, especially during the season. But you know, this right here. You know, Cuervo, I think you might agree with it. You know, the 70% of the fans want Justin Fields to return as the starting quarterback, but it just means that the other 30% know football just a little bit better. I mean, I don't know what I don't know what you think.
As far as the 70-30, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, there's only 30% of the people, you know, the ones that don't want that know football over there. I don't know.
You know, so as far as my personal take on if they're going to do it or not, I'm so on the fence. It's like one day I think about it and I'm like, all right, they got to trade him. And then I think about, well, if they trade him, you know, you can't really build as much as you would like to. You can't really build the rest of the roster out as much as you would if you trade the #1 pick again.
Well, okay. Yes. But as far as money, Cuervo, they got this guy for nothing. And they got one more year with him for nothing because they got that 5th-year option. And I think that's actually 2 more years. Keep him as your backup. Whether or not he likes that or not, that's really irrelevant. Business is business, right, Cuervo? So you keep a guy that as dynamic as he is, even though I don't necessarily always agree with that. I mean, but there are a lot of people that have thought that he can be the Michael Vick. You know, how much of a dynamic player that he really is. Now, Cuervo, I'm saying right now, business-wise, you couldn't get me to get rid of Justin Fields. Not because I want him as your starter. I want him as a backup. In case something goes wrong, you get your #1 and say, listen, Justin, this is what we're going to do. If you don't like it, maybe we'll find another place for you to go. But the fact of the matter is they're not going to get the money or fair trade value in reality for Justin Fields because I don't think that the peak has been figured out on him in reality on whether or not he can continue to play and be the guy, you know, for another football team. I think the Bears have to keep him.
Well, I tell you, Sonny, I don't know how true that is because I think if you can bait a team into a trade and sell it on potential of Justin Fields and what he could be on another team, then I think you could get fair value. For example, I'm sure you've heard this video clip with Mel Kiper.
I have
about what the Bears could get for him. And if that's the case, if Atlanta, and we're talking about the Atlanta Falcons here, if Atlanta actually was to offer the #8 pick for Justin Fields, how can you say no to that? Even if you believe that Fields can be the guy with a new offensive coordinator and he can get him kind of like what you're seeing in Baltimore right now, what I talked about just a few minutes ago with Monken and what he's done for Lamar Jackson. If Shane Waldron can do that for Fields even if you believe that that is the case, yeah, and it all depends on Raheem Morris and what he wants to do at quarterback. If
Yep.
he's content with Desmond Ritter, hey, Bob, then more power to you, man. But I think at the same time that the GM of the Falcon, if he says if we're willing to give the number 8 pick because we believe we can take our team to the next level with number 8 pick for Justin Fields, I mean, it don't matter what you think anymore in Chicago. You make that deal 100%. You make
I
that
fully
deal.
agree. I fully
So
agree.
because now you're talking, you've got 3 of the top 9 picks in the draft.
Yes.
That's
just like
amazing.
last year, and then you can make a decision on how you're going to utilize those, whether you use it for trade bait, whether you use it to try to entice another player to come to your team, or whatever the case may be. It's really interesting. By the way, this cracks me up. Oh, Brian Tarvin, he's out there talking, and Cam Newton being a Bear.
Bring him in. Bring him in.
Bring him in, right?
I say let's go.
Okay, I'm just going to say Cam Newton would be good as an NFL quarterback today as his podcast. Okay, so that tells you what I feel about him. His podcast sucks. I tried to listen to him, and he is just so he just I get he's a former football player, but I still don't think he understands what the NFL is. So, but that being said, that's Cam Newton. But but a lot of things being said so far, and a lot of coaching changes that have happened. I want to, obviously the Jim Harbaugh deal. What do you think about the Jim Harbaugh deal in over there? I knew it was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen when they went to the suspension. I knew they were going to happen because he lives over there. He's got a home right over there. So I was surprised he took the Michigan job in reality, because he lived in Southern California. Well, he still does. He still has the home. So he's just going to move back into his home after a few years in Michigan and turning the program around.
Right. Yeah. I mean, what do I think about it? I mean, I know a lot of Bear fans are pissed off. They're upset that they didn't even interview Jim Harbaugh. Supposedly they didn't interview him. You got to understand, though, getting you're not getting just a head coach with him. You're also getting your GM through him, because that is the type of decision making. That's the type of authority he looks for.
Yes.
That he was looking for with a team, and the Chargers were a team that were willing to give that to him. So, and he's going to make what, $15 million a year, I believe the number is.
That's what I heard.
And all they're going to do is just give some random assistant executive from his brother's team. They're going to give him the title of GM, but we all know who the real GM is going to be over there. So,
absolutely.
With that said, look, I think he's going to make the Chargers. The AFC is going to be a lot stronger now with him, because I think he's gonna unlock a lot of Justin Herbert's potential, and it's going to be. I mean, and look, and I like Antonio Pierce, but the other 3, my gosh, I mean, you're talking Super Bowl
classics. Mm-hmm.
All 3 of them Super Bowl quarterbacks. 2 of them have rings. The other one got there, fell short. But the AFC West just got a whole lot better.
Yep.
So
looking at that, that's huge. And the Titans go ahead, they seal their guy, and just if you believe what you've been seeing out on the football field, this is not necessarily a bad pick, but they still don't have a quarterback in Tennessee, Cuervo. And this is, he's setting himself up because he's going to be the main guy to find who he's going to be, outside of who they got. Will they take that, second-year quarterback? I forget his name. And I like him. I think Will Levis. So what he's going to be able to do with Will Levis, but they got to have another option in reality. And so I think they brought this guy in reality to see what they can possibly do with somebody else. I wonder who the backup that is going to be over there in reality in Tennessee, because we all know it's not going to be Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill is going to be a backup somewhere in the NFL. And by the way, any other football team that needs a backup quarterback better be on the phone and grab the guy up. Say whatever you want about him, can't win the big game, but he's still got that NFL experience. He had a 2-year, just not more than 2 years ago, had 2 years before that, just really playing good football. So if you need an option at backup quarterback, Ryan Tannehill's got to be there. So I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how the Titans answer to Houston as well as Jacksonville in reality. As we lost Cuervo, he'll be back in a moment. But that is something to really be interesting and watching, because I still honestly believe my Jaguars are pretenders. They are not contenders. So that's number one. Number two, when you look at where the Houston Texans are, the Titans got to get better. So the Titans bring in a new coach. They're going to have to coach up Will Levis to get him ready, because that, in reality, looking at that division of football, it can be gotten by any of the 4 teams except maybe Indianapolis. And who knows what Indianapolis will do to try to get and improve and to be in the running for the AFC South as well. So there's something to be thought of as far as that is concerned. The AFC South is going to be a really interesting set of football. By the way, I am in the process, just to let everybody know, to bring in my man, Mr. Tom McManus, whether it be next week or Super Bowl Sunday. Hopefully we can get him live. If not, I'll do an interview as far as video is concerned and bring him on. That's what I'm hoping for. I would hope for him to get him live. I want to get him in the best time to get him live will be during the week not being in the Super Bowl, but it just all depends on what he's going to do over at where the radio station where he's at. Will he be flying over to go ahead and be in, I think the Super Bowl is in Vegas, if he's going to be on Radio Row. Whether or not we'll be able to grab him up, that's going to be a big question, what they'll do in order as far as that is concerned. So I wanted to give everybody heads up. Going to try to get Tom McManus in here on the show for that. So the Carolina Panthers also move. They go ahead and they bring in their guy to try to bring them as far as their new head coach or for the Carolina Panthers, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer offensive coordinator Dave Calais. So we talked about this a little bit last week. Well, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Well, guess what? He's got enough looks at him where Carolina has decided they will go. Now, is this a strong pick? I don't know. However, what I will say, if you can get Baker Mayfield to play really, really well, guess what? He should get the opportunity. I don't know about a head coach, but we'll see what ends up happening as far as that is concerned. Now, also, putting this out there for everybody to see, the last AFC and NFC championship games. What were they? Well, looking last year, as far as San Francisco and the Eagles, well, you got San Francisco, makes it a 3rd championship game in a row. You think someone's got a shoe in to keep his job, that being Kyle Shanahan? Absolutely. So it's really interesting to see how that 3 years in a row, or is that going to be a problem? Look over at the other side, Kansas City, 5 in a row. AFC championships, this makes 6 in a row for Kansas City playing for the Super Bowl. So, whether or not you can decide where you think Patrick Mahomes is, this outside of him, guess what, is the most important one for them as they are on the road. All those, by the way, that you're looking at in that graphic were played at Arrowhead Stadium, and 2 of them got around them. So you think about the Bengals, what they did in order to get that victory at home. Huge. And then, of course, you take a look at the other side of that, not, as far as the Patriots were concerned. So where AFC lands with Kansas City is huge. But if you take a look at the graphic, you have New England Patriots, 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 New England Patriots from 2014 all the way to 2019, which, by the way, was the first year without Tom Brady. So they made it to the AFC Championship game. Obviously, it came up a little short in that in reality. So that being said, on the NFC side, you outside of San Francisco, you got a lot of guys that have been in there. You got two Green Bays, you got two LAs, Arizona and Carolina in the NFC Championship game back in 2016. Huge deal for those guys. But Green Bay has been a consistent. Of course, that's with the Aaron Rodgers effect that was going on. That was huge. You even take a look at a couple of years with the Seattle Seahawks, but where have they been since 2015? And everybody's wondering maybe why, you get rid of Pete Carroll. Well, you haven't been to the AFC Championship game after you made it 2 years in a row. Just in case people did not necessarily know, that was 8 years ago. So what he's been able to do, I hear arguments back and forth, should he be this guy? Should this be the one, year that you get rid of a Pete Carroll? Well, depending on what you believe and what you've seen, and think of how many years it's been. It's been a lot of years since Pete Carroll's been able to take his football team to an NFC Championship game, let alone the Super Bowl. 8 long years. And depending on the ownership and how long they will put up with that, that's always going to be the big story as well. So, Pete Carroll, always a great story to talk about in reality. Some other things that I put together as far as, the things we're looking at. Let me see if I can find where it was at. Oh, there's a couple. Look at the 2013 Washington coaching staff and look where all these guys are now. So, it's just really interesting. Raheem Morris obviously just picked up over in Atlanta. Sean McVay with the Rams and Mike McDaniel over with the Dolphins. Matt LaFleur, man, you want to talk about a guy that solidified his job for another year at least. Matt LaFleur, if they didn't make the playoffs or they didn't come playing, I think we would have seen the end of Matt LaFleur up in Green Bay. All he did is just solidified another year as a head coach of the Green Bay Packers, as far as that is concerned. Here we go. Chiefs 49ers in Super Bowl. He switched back again. I thought, hey, Jim, Obi, I thought you were on Baltimore. So he switched again. I don't know. It's just, he can't make up his mind in reality as far as who's going to be there, Cuervo. I thought maybe I misheard Obi. I thought he picked the Ravens, didn't he?
Obi's so undecided. No, actually, I think I think he did stick to Kansas City.
No, okay. So here you go. Oh, he was not.
No,
so
I think he had gone Kansas City originally. So.
All right. So hey, look out for that one. That will be the game that decides the playoff championship, by the way. Because if the Ravens win, I'm going to walk away with it. If Obi and the Chiefs win, he's going to walk away with it, quite possibly, depending on what ends up happening. So, as far as the playoff portion of that is concerned, good to see Obi back giving us a listen here. And let me just bring that down. Now, Cuervo, just some things that I pulled up for the game to talk about. And let me, where are they? Oh, I don't know. Did you see that fly right
here? I did
here?
see that. Yep, I saw that.
Is that? I mean, we're talking about head coaches now that have solidified themselves as head coaches in the NFL, and they're not going anywhere. At least Matt LaFleur for another year. Hey, and if Jordan Love's, and I know you hate to talk about him, but if Jordan Love has another year like he had this year and is able to take him even at least gets where he went this year or even further, Matt LaFleur is going to be solidified there in Green Bay even more, and that would have been it. If Jordan Love just had an average year and didn't make the playoffs, I think he would have been gone. What do you think?
No, I don't think he would have been gone. I think probably would have gave him more time to try and see if they can develop something with Jordan. Because, I mean, you got to remember that was Jordan Love's first year as a full-time starter. So,
Right.
I don't think you can evaluate how LaFleur is bringing Jordan Love along after just one season.
Well,
So
NFL teams have done, if they got their guy or someone that they want to go for, that's not necessarily unheard of, regardless. So, and say whatever you want, the failings of Aaron Rodgers the last few years with him is something that history is there, but
Yeah.
just all depends. Now, what did you think about this move for the Titans, going ahead and bringing in Brian Callahan?
I think it could be a good hire. I'm not saying it's a home run hit or anything, but you look back at the offense in Cincinnati and you see how he got where that team was. I think Callahan's earned a shot. Brian Callahan has earned a shot to be a head coach and
Okay.
see what he can do with Levis and which leads me to believe and because he kind of said it too, Derrick Henry's no longer going to be a Tennessee Titan. So
Yep, he's
I think
gone.
they're going to
He's
move
even
on
said
with
it.
him, and we'll see what he can do. We'll see what
Yeah.
he can do with the new with him as a head coach and get that offense going.
And take a look at this right here. We were just talking about, who is this guy? Who's the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Well, he's now the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. I don't know what to think. I mean, I don't know. Is this it just seems to me there might be better candidates, but at the same time, these are the Carolina Panthers. These are the Tennessee Titans. These are not the juggernauts of the NFL. So they got to be able to develop something to where maybe they can become the juggernauts of the NFL.
Yeah, the thing about Canales, Sonny, is, I mean, you want to talk about somebody that's really moved up fast
Big time.
in the coach rankings. I mean, just 2 years ago, he was a quarterback coach.
Yep.
In Seattle, helped Geno Smith to that season that he had a couple of years ago. His first year in Seattle. So a lot of people think that he's the reason that Geno and that offense was so good that year.
Yes.
In Seattle. And people say it may be Shane Waldron, Canales. I mean, it's hard to say for sure, but I mean, to go from quarterback coach to head coach in 2 years, that's impressive. And there's something about him that teams like, or they know what they see in him. And
how do you think that affects Baker? Baker is, I've been hearing all around, Baker is estimated to get $40 million. That'd be 10 times more than what he got this year. I don't buy the $40 million per se. Okay. Depending on which reports you believe or read, I got Baker Mayfield at 30 at best, maybe 32 if you're going to sign him. If you're Tampa Bay, what are you going to do? You don't have the guy that made him maybe look good as a play caller. Tampa Bay's got to definitely fill that hole with that guy gone, because I don't know. Just what you said. Look what he did up in Seattle. Now he did it with Baker Mayfield. Now you still have Baker Mayfield. If you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, do you continue with the Baker Mayfield experiment and find a good offensive coordinator to maybe get the job done to help him get, the Tampa Bay success? Or do you move on from a Baker Mayfield because of the money? If you believe what people are talking about, the $40 million, I don't think Tampa Bay wants to fork out that kind of money for Baker Mayfield, seeing how much they didn't pay, their Super Bowl winning quarterback Tom Brady that much. I don't think. I forgot how much Brady was making the year he won the Super Bowl, but I don't think it was $40 million. And if it was at $40 million, and that's not the same guy.
Well, I don't think he's going to make 40 over one season. I think it'll probably be 2 seasons, maybe 3. If they're lucky, they can squeeze 3 out of that. But it's probably going to be a 2-year deal for $40 million. Yeah, I think you absolutely should bring Baker Mayfield back and try to find offensive coordinator that'll fit what made him successful. And because if you don't keep Baker Mayfield, what direction are you going to go?
Good.
Who you know, what other options are out there? Who you gonna
What
who you gonna bring
quarterback
in?
will fall to him in the draft just as much as what Bryce was hoping for the Pittsburgh Steelers? What quarterback will fall down to him at the number 20?
Right, right.
Kind of thing. So definitely, I think all eyes are open on what could be gotten at the same time and who can be gotten for a realistic reason. Now, Tom Brady, you do what you can to get a Tom Brady, and obviously they did what they did. Now, whether or not how they'll do that, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if what I read for Baker was the 40 million for 2 years or if that was for 1 year. I just read 40 million. 2 years, yeah, I'd be jumping on that if I am the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But if it is 30 or 40 million a year, I think I might move on from that idea as far as that is concerned, depending on what they do outside of, getting new personnel out on the football field to help them win football games on the field.
Right, right. And that's what he did this year. I mean, he got the Bucks to the playoffs when people thought that the Tampa Bay was gonna take a step down and not make the playoffs and whatever. And
I think he saved somebody's job.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. But and if you're wondering, well, can the Buccaneers afford to pay him that much? They will be able to, because there's a really good chance that Mike Evans will not be with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers next year. He's going to be a free agent. He'll probably wind up leaving that team and going somewhere else, and that'll save money for Tampa Bay. So
I think the place for him to be is Raiderville. I mean, say whatever you want. What's going on over there as far as Oakland is, or as far as Vegas is concerned, what they got going on? Would you him, Devontae Adams next to each other? Oh my goodness, there's a hell of a 1-2 punch for any, even though Evans is on the downfall and even Devontae Adams had a little slip, that would be a great 1-2 punch. That's hard to defend, and especially in the AFC West when you need to have some juggernauts out there to win you football games in that division. If you either want to win the division or, for that matter, make the playoffs, you got to have somebody there. I think that would be a good move for them in reality, is to bring up a Mike Evans to move on to that. So that also being said, we missed over this. It's a great graphic. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's trailed by 7+ points in 10 different playoff games, and the Chiefs have won 8 of those 10 games. So, that just tells you another story that Baltimore, if you're going to get up and you're going to win that game, you need to get up on that football team. You need to be above 10 points or above 7 points in reality. Cuervo, interesting stat to look at as far as Patrick Mahomes and what he does. And it moves into this right here. When you take a look at the best winning percentages of a quarterback since 1980, including playoffs, there's Patrick Mahomes. There's Tom Brady. And guess who's there as well? Mr. Lamar Jackson. And, we talked about his winning percentage all day long. When he's out on the football field, he's going to win you 7 to 10 football games. They'll get you in the playoffs each and every year if he can stay healthy.
Right. And you know what? I don't want to go down a huge rabbit hole here because I do need to jump off a little early. But,
okay.
Winning is what matters, right? Does anybody pay attention to Lamar Jackson's stats, his passing yards and rushing yards and completion percentage and all that? I think when teams are not winning or when things aren't going well, that's when we start looking at statistics, right? And because the reason I bring that up, and this is an argument to keep Justin Fields in Chicago. That's why I'm bringing this up.
Okay.
Because there's a lot. It's the numbers that these guys put up, Lamar versus Field, they're very comparable. But the difference is that the Ravens win a lot more games than the Bears do. So that's why everybody's kind of scrutinizing Justin Fields' stats, his numbers. Oh, he only throws for 160 yards a game and for one touchdown. Well, Lamar's had many games like that, but guess what?
Yep.
The difference is that the Ravens win football games.
Makes
Bears
all
have
the
one.
difference in the world. I mean, that's depending on who you're talking about. That's why you see the Bears winning only 3 games a season, like he did 2 years ago. Now, granted, they won more games this year. I don't know if that was just dumb luck, flukish, or whatever the case may be. I wasn't impressed, regardless. How that is, and neither are the Bears, or they wouldn't be out there seeking a trade or trying to move on a Justin Fields, because you don't hear the Bears going, "Oh, hell no, we're not getting rid of Justin Fields." Oh, no, they're being very quiet about that. They're not making that statement.
Mm-hmm. No, and you're not going to hear them make that statement. It's just going to happen if it happens. Like, nobody's going to announce it to the world. It's just going to, you're just going to hear the breaking news, and it is what it is. Like, that's it.
All right. Rapid fire. Here we go. Look at the screen. Who you got for the coach of the year? Dan Campbell, Harbaugh, DeMarcus Ryan, Kyle Shanahan, or Kevin Stefanski? I know who I got.
I'm taking DeMeco Ryans.
I think DeMeco Ryan would be the second best. And the only reason why I say this, Cuervo, is yes, you got some guys out there. Dan Campbell hasn't been there. And when you go, oh, I'm going John Harbaugh on this, because the fact of the matter is, regardless of the situation, he was able to do it. Remember, they lost Andrews for 9 football games, man, and he needed to figure out and find somebody that they can help win football games outside of Lamar Jackson. So I think I go with John Harbaugh as the coach of the year. Next one up, offensive player of the year. I know who I got. Who do you have?
I'll take the toss up between Tyreek Hill and McCaffrey, but I lean McCaffrey.
I'm leaning Tyreek. So at least we're on the same page there, because I have Christian McCaffrey. In reality, I think Tyreek done more with less in reality. So that's kind of the reason why I took a look at that one. And then the next one, the MVP. Are you on Lamar? Because I'm on Lamar.
Same. Yep. Lamar.
Okay. And then the other one here, the defensive player of the year. I know I am on one guy. Who do you have?
Myles Garrett.
That's where I'm at too. I'm going Myles Garrett. I was going to say Obi is in love with that idea as far as that is concerned. As far as rapid fire. By the way, take a look at this one. We got this one, the Hardball 3. Yep, they're gonna meet the Chargers, and wouldn't that be kind of cool to see them in a playoff game? I look at that and I'm loving.
Could happen.
I'm loving the whole idea of that happening. So, all right, just to let you know, I don't know if you heard, I'm going to try to get McManus on next week or Super Bowl Sunday. Try to get him. Hopefully, we can get him live. If not, we'll do
Awesome.
a tape to get him on there. Also, I want to try to bring on Coach Bramani, who played a part in the Baltimore Ravens, getting ready for the season, coaching with John Harbaugh and that football team. We're going to try to get him on next week. And he listen, if you haven't, you go back in the archives, see this guy loves talking football, and I love Coach Bramani. We're going to try to get him on. Both of those guys within the next couple of weeks. I'm going to actually reach out to both of them today to see what their schedules are. I'll keep you apprised of that as far as that is concerned. So outside of that, Cuervo, do you have anything else before you got to bail? Because I know you had to bail here.
Let me think.
There was one other thing I wanted to ask you about, and I just forgot. And I didn't write. Normally, I write those down when I'm thinking about it, but I didn't have a pen. But it was basically on the lines of something that happened this week. But Maybe I'll get it once I remember. I'll put it in the chat. You can answer it.
Okay.
I wanted to get your take on it. It's just slipping my mind. As far Barry, it's not the one I'm thinking of. What do you think, Barry Sanders? You sign him up for one game so he can get a Super Bowl ring. Do you like that idea? I don't know if he would do it or not, but what's your take upon bringing in if they make the Super Bowl and taking up a roster spot for one Barry Sanders?
I don't know. I mean, that's kind of it would be kind of a cheesy thing to do, but I mean, look, if the organization and Barry's down to do it, I mean, who you going to take off the playoff roster if you do
That's
that?
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Who's the one that is going to be the unlucky one that Barry Sanders, who's what 54, I think now, 54 years old, taking over his roster spot to try to win and not get the Super Bowl ring? That would suck.
Well, and imagine if they don't win the game either. You know what I
that
mean?
too. Exactly. That's why I don't. That's why, first of all, it's a stupid thing to even think about. I just saw it, and I thought I'd throw it out there because it was just so dumb, as far as that was concerned. So, but yeah. All right, that's all I have. Anything else that you can think of, or does that take care of us here for the day?
I think no. I think we're good. I should have sent you this picture, but there was a picture floating around with Barry and Jerry Rice, and they kind of were talking to each other on
That's interesting.
Twitter, and like,
That's cool.
oh, may the best team win type thing. And
Yeah.
so, it was a picture with them together, and they're in their older retired days. It must have been not too old of a picture. So, yeah, I gotta send you those when I find those. I'll send them to you.
Yeah, send those over to me, and we'll get it all set. And I will. I thought about it during the show. I was like, oh, I want to get Cuervo's opinion on this, and I forgot what it was before we left out. Moving on, so we'll keep I'll try to remember it, and I'll get your opinion on it before we get on out of here.
Okay.
As far as that is concerned, so that's going to do it for us on the Couch Potato Sports Show. We got what 20 minutes. We got a half hour before kickoff, and we're going to find out if Baltimore is going to be in the Super Bowl or if it's going to be Kansas City. Oh, I wanted to show you this before you leave. Get me five. I thought this was really interesting. Where is it? Right here. Take a look at this. Look at those. Kansas City, 5. This will be 6 years in the AFC Championship game. Look at San Francisco. They're going to be in 4 of the last 5. So man, big time stuff. And then San Francisco down low. But look at the year, the Arizona Cardinals and the Panthers, back in 2016. You want to talk about totally off the wall. There you go. I mean, but the other teams, I mean, looking right there, outside of Seattle. Oh, that's what it was. This was the graphic. 2 years, 2014, 2015 for the Seattle Seahawks. So if you do the quick math, Cuervo, that's 8 years since the Seattle Seahawks have been in the NFC Championship game. Time, 8 years, a long time, not making it back there. And Pete Carroll was unceremoniously dumped on his ass, not the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks anymore, which, by the way, I wonder who they're going to get if they did they get a new coach yet? And I just missed it.
No, I think it's coming down to, I think Dan Quinn is a finalist, if I heard right. And I also want to say, who's another? Was it? No, it's not Vrabel. It's another coordinator. I just can't think of who it is though. But I know Dan Quinn is one of them.
If Dan Quinn got that job, who do you think he'd grab up for an offensive coordinator? Because obviously he's the defensive guy. You need someone in there that can take care of what they got at the quarterback position, which, by the way, will go to the wayside. Yes, and I can't stand him. Pete Carroll got the best out of Geno Smith. They can't expect Geno Smith to be the guy next year. In reality, who do you think that they would grab up for an offensive coordinator?
Up in Seattle, yeah, it's hard to say, Sonny. I don't know.
Me either. That's why I asked you.
maybe somebody from Dallas's staff, maybe somebody that he worked well with in Dallas. Yeah, that's because I mean the guys in Seattle are gone now. Waldron
Yep.
came to Chicago.
Yep.
He brought Kerry Joseph, the quarterback coach. He's going to be the quarterback coach with the Bears now. So, yeah, I don't think like a Cliff Kingsbury would do it. Not with the Seahawks. It would have to be more of a because Dan Quinn seems like a ground and pound type.
Yes, they are. And they need, I think, I think that you went right into my thinking. They need more of a traditional offensive coordinator in reality, probably based upon the personnel that's out there on the football field. Say whatever you want. I wouldn't necessarily call Geno Smith a running quarterback. He can, but I think he's more of a pocket passer in reality before he will run. So I think you need to find that more traditional offensive coordinator to help him in his game being in the pocket, which would be if they're going to stick with the Geno Smith in reality. And that is the biggest question at all, as far as what Seattle may or may not do at the quarterback position with the new regime going in. So interestingly enough, Pete Carroll being unceremoniously I listen, he got Geno Smith to be as good as he is. I don't think there's any other coach that could have done it, obviously by proof from history. I think the Seattle Seahawks might have made a mistake if Pete Carroll wanted to stay, and everything I'm reading is he wanted to stay.
Yeah, when he is technically staying in Seattle, he got a front office job, but at the same time, if an opportunity comes up for him to be a head coach somewhere, I think Seattle's given him that flexibility to say, okay, yeah, I'd rather go coach, the Commanders or something. But I think Ben Johnson from Detroit's going to get that job once the season's over.
Got it.
I think he's too focused on what's going on with his team.
Yep.
But I think the Commanders are going to wind up throwing a huge bag of money at Ben Johnson, the OC, and
Got it.
And he's going to be the next coach of the Commanders. So.
Yeah. By the way, just to let you know, that idea of him being a quote unquote front office guy was not his idea. He was actually shocked when he heard it. At least the things that I read, that was not what the quote unquote plan might have been in reality regarding Pete Carroll and his future as far as Seattle was concerned.
Yeah. Yep. So,
all right.
Well, I guess it was an unwanted promotion, but
yeah.
I mean,
there you go. All right, that's going to do it for us then. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of the day. I know you got to get out of there. You got where are you going to be watching the games today? You going to be home or are you going to be on the road?
No, right here in my living room.
All right, very good. Enjoy both of the games, and we will talk to you next week. I'll keep you apprised on who and when the guests that I'm trying to get on, and let you know about that when I know about it. So that's going to do it for us, everybody. Yep, go ahead.
Okay, that's for next week. That's for next week, Pro Bowl week.
One of them or both of them, depending on schedule. I'm trying to if I can get either one of them. That's going to be the biggest question. I think I could get Coach Bramante if I can actually get a hold of him. So I'm going to try to do that. I'm going to try to get a hold of him, try to get him in, and especially if the Baltimore Ravens win today, I really want him on the show next week, or Super Bowl Sunday, whatever the case may be.
Okay.
And I don't even know if he's not with the team right now. He may be with the team right now and might not be available. So I just don't know where he is as far as the schedule is concerned too. So, but we'll keep an eye out and see if we can get Coach Bramante and the Tom
Mr.
McManus, man,
McManus, yeah.
online, my guy, and hopefully we can get him talk about the Super Bowl and what he thinks about the Jaguars. I know what he thinks, but I would love let everybody know what he thinks about where they're going. And I kind of disagree him on something with him, and I want to talk to him about it. So we'll do
Well,
that.
you know what, Sonny? We'll get it from the horse's mouth. How about that?
Absolutely, the horse. I just watched. Wow, that's weird. You did. I just watched that the other day.
There you go.
He does a lot with the local people out there and everything else. So I did. I just watched it. So all right. So that's going to do it for us here on the Couch Potato Sports Show. It's AFC Championship and NFC Championship week. We will see you next week for the mandatory bye before we hit the Super Bowl. We're out of here, everybody. Take care. Bye bye.